Hey everybody, welcome back to the latest episode of HMO the podcast here on this fine Wednesday morning, episode 23. Let's go. Here with your host Kevin
and Juan Lopez, aka the greatest podcaster of all time, aka Mr. Celsius in the flesh, aka 100,000 on TikTok, 500,000 on TikTok. You know, it's the little things that matter, and you know what? We aren't little things. Now today we're actually joined by a very special guest. Friend of the podcast, friend of the hosts.
Name dropped many times on the pod.
A collaborator of creativity, a collaborator of what we know today as modern art. Introduce yourself. What's up?
What's up, guys? My name's Miguel. You guys, the viewers probably know who I am already.
Why is that? That's kind of like a little flex, no?
Well, no. Just 'cause, like, everybody, I feel like a lot of our friends just watch this.
Keep on. It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen.
Okay, all right. Is this like a ritual where like
it's gonna happen?
No, he does it to me too. For those that are just listening, don't know what's going on. Juan is pushing the mic around like he's abusing the microphone. He's
putting it closer to. I feel like, am I not talking right into it?
That's what I'm saying, right?
Don't worry. When we have if we had a producer,
Juan likes me to lick the mic.
If we had a producer, they would tell you that the microphones are not picking up your audio. But I'm just nice about it. Like, I'll just let you keep talking and not say anything. But okay, whatever. Just go. I'm sorry to cut your joke.
Yeah, it's all right. So yeah, the reason why I say that is because just a lot of our friends watch the podcast. So I feel like everybody would just know me.
For those that need a refresher that aren't part of the friend group, Miguel is the one that gave us those sick hoodies. They were not hoodies.
They were not hoodies.
Hey, they were kind of thick. I was warm.
They were good shirts. Yeah. But yeah, Miguel is the creator and originator. Well, you didn't originate the logo. All right, let's just go into the podcast immediately. We're hosts, right?
Right.
What? Okay, so on that show, on that episode, I think it was like episode 13. It was probably like 10, 15 episodes.
Episode 6.
Episode 6.
Yeah, it was very early.
That was 20 fucking episodes. Have we been doing this that long?
Bro, we're
23. This is 23.
Yeah.
Fuck, we've been doing this for a while. But on that episode, Kevin was like, what did you call them? You didn't call them. They're bullets, by the way. They're bullets.
Yeah, those were 10 bullets.
But Kevin
thought it was a fence.
Kevin thought it was a fence, and I thought it was 10 needles. So just tell us, and they were clearly not. So tell us what that even was. What are the 10 bullets? What are those things that you created on this shirt?
Yeah, so the 10 bullets, that's actually not even my thing, right? That's like Tom Sachs's thing. And
it's just not picking it up. Like, you have to talk.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Like, put your mouth as close to it as possible. Trust me. It sounds bad, but like, you have to.
All right. So basically, the 10 bullets is it's basically a thing that Tom Sachs originated, and it's basically these 10 virtues and rules of his studio. So I guess like one of the bullets would be like, always be knowing, which basically means just to organize your space in a way that everything is a 90-degree angle according to like the studio space or like the table that you're sitting it on. And basically, the best way to put it is, man, I kind of lost my train of thought.
Oh my god! Listen, I want you guys to know that Miguel is our most prepared guest of all time. Man brought out a notebook. He gave us like actual content to work, and that's not shitting on other guests, mind you. We're not shitting on anybody else, but we're shitting on you guys a little bit. Like, Miguel came with a book and shit. Like, I didn't see nobody do this type of.
Right, I can read off the notes too.
But who is Tom Sachs? That's the first question.
Yeah, so Tom Sachs is a bricolage artist from New York City.
A what?
A bricolage artist. So it basically means he makes art using things that he can find. Most of the time, it's from like plywood or just tools that he has laying around the studio that he'll just use in that moment. Like, I know one of his latest installments was a boat that he made. And it actually like is a working boat, like it floats and stuff. But I think he ended up not putting it in a river, which was like the original plan. He actually ended up making it into a treehouse, right? Because he kept having troubles with it floating, like it kept sinking. So he just decided to put it up in a tree. And like now the vision for it is different. But that's like something that
it's progressive. Visions change. So when did your vision start? That's the question, right? Because now you're taking on this creative path. You've always been a creative person. We've known you for a very long time. You know, probably closer. We're probably better friends now than we were 6-7 years ago, which is how long ago we were in high school, by the way. Crazy, I know.
10 years ago.
It doesn't feel that long. But we literally started high school in 2014, and now we're in 2023.
You know what's crazy is that now I've known Kevin for 10 years.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like,
Holy
when I say
shit,
10
I'm just
years
not
ago, people are like,
realizing
don't say that, don't say that. Bro, it's literally been
Right.
10 years.
But
It's been 10 fucking
yeah,
years.
it has been 10 years. So like, when did the vision start? Did it start 14, little boy at Science Park High School? Sorry, did I just what? It doesn't matter. We graduated, right?
Right,
It's been
right,
10
yeah.
years.
14-year-old in high school, or did it start 2022, post-pandemic, pre-pandemic, mid-pandemic, senior year of high school? Or maybe it started at 8 years old. Maybe it started at 6.
I mean, I've always been kind of like a creative person in general, where like music was always, I mean, for a long time, music was everything in my life. Like just growing up, I was always surrounded by musicians and artists. Going to Science Park is kind of like where I faded away from that stuff, just because Science Park is such a STEM related, like STEM focused school. So you don't really have like you don't have a lot of time to really express yourself in that way until I joined the band. Joining the band, that was pretty much like a really huge like turning point for me, just because it became like painfully obvious that like music was everything for me.
If you don't know, Juan is the biggest hater of band of all time.
Dude,
Juan hates happiness. Juan hates any extracurricular, bro. Man just wants to run and vomit in soccer practice.
Bro, when I just forget that everyone was in the band, like, and I was not. But we had a Poku on, if you guys remember. I forgot what episode that was. But Poku was also in the band, and I just forget that people actually were a part of that extracurricular activity. Just because, there's no shade towards those people. Those people, it sounds like a slur,
Right? What do you mean by that?
those people. But I just never participated. They tried to recruit me one year, because I play a couple instruments myself, but I just
supposedly.
didn't. I did. Listen, I was an athlete. Okay, I was a jock. I was a jock. Do you know the typical like High School Musical scene where it was like, stick to the stuff you know. If you wanna be cool, follow one simple rule.
I've never watched High School Musical, but I know what you're talking about.
That's
I know
crazy.
I know
Okay,
everybody
that's
and their mom
crazy.
gasped right now as I said that. I can't believe
Yeah,
it.
that's crazy, but I just don't remember the songs.
Okay, well there was a scene in this movie where they're all in the cafeteria, and then one of the basketball players wants to be like a baker or whatever. And then they're like, stick to the stuff you know. And there's kind of like a funny connotation to that.
Oh, wait, wasn't it?
Because the
Because
bro wanted to be a baker, and then they like gave him a basketball. It's kind of fucked. It's kind of
That is actually, yeah.
But yeah, I was just a little jock, I guess, for lack of better terms. And it's funny you say throwing up. Did I tell that story on the podcast? Where I threw up at a soccer practice?
I don't know.
Oh, well, I did throw up at a soccer practice one time because of the heat. I like just started yakking, and then there was like videos of me on the internet throwing up, and they were like, "This is how I want you after every soccer practice." That happened. When I was
Nah,
like
it didn't
14.
go viral. No way.
It didn't go viral, but it went like mini viral. At least the people in our surrounding area were like, "Oh, there's a video of Juan throwing up," and someone yelling at him like, "This is how you need to be after soccer practice. This is what you need." But the band kids, y'all used to be running and shit.
They did for marching
Yeah,
band.
They used to be running.
I feel like at the height of our marching band, I feel like we were doing the most physical training than any other group. I'm not even joking about that.
That was the most fit I ever was in my life.
Like that. I'm not even joking about that. We were forced to run around the school like 12 times or something like that.
That's
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, dude.
Well,
For extracurricular, you probably did the most strenuous exercising for any extracurricular that it wasn't a sport.
true. I could see
Probably.
that.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
agree. Yeah.
Bro, like that shit. Like we would go train in the Behringer Stadium, and like if we would fuck up, it like a leisurely quarter mile, like fucking go do a lap, bro. I was like, that's a fucking quarter mile.
That's too much. I remember when we were in high school and our soccer coach for our senior year was like, if you can't run 2 miles in 12 minutes, you're off. Like, we're just not going to have soccer. He's like, I don't care if only one person does it. If only one person does it, then we won't have a team this year.
Damn.
And then no one fucking did
That's
it.
my time for one.
Like, bro, no one fucking... I ran
That's
my
my time
fastest mile in my life that year. I ran... my first mile, I finished in like 5:30, which is a fast-ass mile.
That is actually a really fast mile.
But you can't keep up that pace for fucking 2 miles. So after I finished like 13:15 or something like that, like 13 minutes and 10 seconds or something, which is not a bad 2 miles. But he was like, yeah, 2 miles in 12 minutes. I was like, bitch, fuck you. No, I'm not fucking running 2 miles in 12 minutes. I'm a grown ass man talking to me like I'm 13 years old, telling me I have to do this shit. Like, no. But there was still a soccer team. We didn't do much. We got to the city finals and lost. But whatever. You know, we're not
is that
here.
gonna be a story that you're gonna just be telling people like, yeah, we made it to the city finals and lost?
Second place in our city is not that impressive. Like
It's not. Well, I mean, Newark is on the come up.
No, they have good soccer teams here.
Yeah.
There's good football teams, but
we also got hold for second place for marching band tournament.
I remember that.
How did you guys get hoed? Were you guys the better band? You guys played the instruments better?
Yeah, we were just better. We were
Yeah.
better marchers, better players, but like we just didn't win over some
Yeah.
bullshit
we,
too.
we basically lost a popularity contest
Yeah,
because like we lost
We
to a
were new.
band that we lost to a band that had more tenure than us.
there was like 30-year-old men in that
Yeah.
band, like talking about some play better than me. Like, yo,
Yes.
I am 15. Why you got beef with me, bro?
Wait, it wasn't like a high school competition. It was like a competition.
It was, but like they invited like alumni to play, and like, you know, some random grown ass man was pulling up talking about some. Come on, play more. Like, yo,
That's funny as hell because my freshman year of high school soccer, right? We played against a Behringer team. It was either Behringer or some other school, but we lost. The varsity team lost like 10-0 or some shit, like some crazy.
Yeah.
And then they come to find out at the end of the season that they had players that were like 4 or 5 years removed from high school playing on that team, and they got like disqualified for like the next couple of years. Like that's a real story that happened in Newark.
damn.
That they were playing with like 20-year-olds or like 22-year-olds on the high school team, and you're not allowed to do that shit. So
Why-
yeah, they got disqualified.
How did that? I wonder how that even came to be. Like, were they just like, oh, you can play?
I don't know. I think it's like the super senior rule. Like it's probably people that maybe like stayed back a couple times, but you
okay.
only have eligibility for 5 years. After 5 years, you can't play high school sports anymore.
Right.
Like yeah, like it's not like if I keep
So
getting
like you can play up until you're 23.
no,
You said
5 years from the
5
start
years.
of high school.
Yeah. So like,
Oh,
it means
okay,
like if you
okay,
stood
okay.
back once, that's like your last time that you can play.
Okay.
Yeah, because people reclass all the time. Like that's something that people do.
Now
if they
let
wanna,
me ask you this: like, let's say if you didn't play your first 4 years, your first 3 years, you're a senior, and then like,
Nah, I don't think that's how that works. But there's also like you
it's like a
can't
loophole.
you can't play certain sports if you're not like academically performing. I think
Yeah.
like there's a certain level
well,
of like
usually
academic.
it's tied
usually.
to your usually it's tied to your GPA. But I guess if you had a good GPA, you'd graduate. And you would
Exactly.
grad, yeah.
So it's oh my god, this is why I don't use glasses. But yeah, when you said you've always been creative, you've always played instruments, done that creative thing. But when did it take off? When did it click? When were you like, damn, this is it?
Dude, it clicked. Man, it started clicking actually probably like 2016 when I don't know if you guys know who Casey Neistat is.
Yeah, I know who Casey
But yeah,
is.
like watching just Casey's videos and just like looking at his studio and looking at the stuff that he's physically made, like the actual stuff that he makes, because he always customizes his things. And just looking at his videography, that's kind of like when it clicked for me, where I was like, that's art. Like I can see how that is art, and I can see like the vision there. And it just like after that, it kind of just started evolving from there. Like I started just getting into videography, started just filming everything that I see or do or places that I visit.
When did you start making your own projects though? Because I don't remember you talking about like when you were 16. Or was it just like at that point it was just like you enjoyed watching, but you weren't making anything for a while?
So I enjoyed watching. I wasn't really making stuff, but when I did make things, I wasn't showing anybody. Yeah, like I was just stuff that I would just keep in my laptop and just watch or edit on my own time. But I wasn't like putting it out there. I was just like, I was really self-conscious about it. So
It's really easy to be that way with like any form of art. Like now I've stepped away from it. But definitely at those ages, that's when you're most like self-conscious and like, damn, everyone can see what I'm doing. And like I have to see these people every day.
yeah, exactly. And another part of it was that I just think that nobody would care. Like if I made a video about something, I thought nobody would like really give a shit. So I just kept it on my laptop. A lot of those videos still have not seen the light of day, and just died with that laptop because I trashed it. But yeah, man, like that's basically when I really started getting into videography and like art in general. But then like my real like awakening for it, where I think I can kind of vision the next few steps, happened recently, where I was just able to afford cameras and afford or just have the time to start filming things, and just going places, and just filming like where I've been throughout the United States, because like I traveled a lot in 2022, so I filmed a lot of that. I haven't. Well, I guess I kind of put it in a video. But
Sorry, it's gonna happen. It's
No,
gonna
it's
happen
alright.
throughout the whole podcast.
I guess I kind of put it in a video, but a lot of those things I still haven't even shown because I have a future project planned.
Hear me out. Traveling outside of like your hometown is the most eye-opening, awakening thing that anyone can do. I know it sounds kind of redundant, but really stepping a foot outside of where you grew up, you're just gonna see so much different cultures, so much different life, and you're gonna realize just how small of a role you play in like the big scheme of the rest of the world. And it's crazy. It's crazy. And you've seen that firsthand.
Yeah, like there's a few things I could like point out right off the bat. So when I was traveling the United States, the first place that I really went, the first places that I really went were in the South, right? So like Texas, Texas, Tennessee, South Carolina, North Carolina, Florida, and these places are very, very different from where we live. Like they're super different. They're just politically, culturally, they value different things. The weather's different. And so a lot of the culture and the values that we hold here in the North, it gets challenged when you go down there and you meet those people and you do business with them. And instead of like approaching them with like a brick wall kind of attitude where I was just like gonna not absorb anything they would say, I kind of approached it where I was like, let me absorb this culture a little bit, see how it is. Let me enjoy their food and talk to these people and see what they hold, close to them. And it really changed, the way I think about life in general. I started thinking about like just like there's definitely some crazies out there. Don't get me wrong. There are people out there where I was driving down towns that were like straight up sunset towns where they had signs like, if you're not from this town, you got to get out by 7 p.m.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
those are the people commenting on our TikTok.
Those are the ones commenting like Celsius is better.
No.
Those are the same group of people. They're in the same scale for me, honestly.
But like, so don't get me wrong. There are definitely crazies out there. But I feel like, especially with our political climate now, it's really easy to treat the other person as the opposition instead of another human being.
Yeah.
And that really opened my eyes. My eyes were really open to that when I started traveling. I started speaking to people from the South, and like these people are definitely Republican. They love guns. They love, they love God to like an extreme degree. So they hold different values than us, and it's just really shaped the way I think about everything.
To be fair, like the way that the political climate is now, that's what shaped it to be this Republican versus Democrat thing. It's always been like Republican versus Democrat, but it was never to the point where it's like, oh, you voted Republican, I'm never talking to you again. Yeah. It was more so the reason that it took a shift from, oh, you're a Republican, I'm a Democrat, cool, and it took a shift from like, I'm a Democrat, you're the opposition, was when Trump was in office and he was like open, because a lot of these politicians are bad people. It was
even before that.
But it was still. During Obama too. You could see it.
I think it really started like when Obama was running for president.
But we were kids. Like we were very little when that happened. We were like 8 to.
It was actually during
15.
I would say it was during the Obama presidency, because that's when you really saw Republicans just pull out some of the. I mean, and nothing against Republicans. Like if you're a Republican, like that's just your political.
Nah, I'm not jacking you. I don't fuck with you. That's just the truth.
But what I'm saying is like, for example, like it's like a lot of like underhanded tactics, like saying that Obama was an American.
Yeah.
And like that was like a whole scandal for a while. Yeah, and
it's just rooted in racism. Like that's really all it is. Right. It's just rooted in racism.
So it becomes like, politics is a really nasty place where like if somebody tries a tactic like that, you already know that the other party's gonna do something similar. They're gonna say something or do something similar. So I feel like it's pretty bad on both sides. But from my perspective, it did start on the Republican side. But I don't want to talk too much about politics.
No, of course. But it's just really easy to forget that like. Majority of people are just normal people.
Right.
And that's where I think it's even where you're stemming from too. It's like a lot of these people on either side are just fucking normal people. Yeah. Like across the world, like it's just normal people, like just going to work every day. Their life, I'm not saying their life has no value, but their life has no stake on your own. So there's really like nothing to combat about. Their life is completely independent from yours. And I only realized that. I didn't only realize it, but the first time I really had like that awakening where I'm like, oh shit, these are just people. I got on a plane. I think I told this story on the pod maybe, but when I got on a plane for the first time after arriving to America, which was...
Oh yeah, all these NPCs are going to the same place as me, right?
But it's not even that they're all going to the same place as me. I got onto a plane, and when we took off, I looked down and I was like, oh, this is how small I am. This is how insignificant I am. This is who I am from the perspective of something this high. I am nobody to every single person in here, but I am everything to other people in my life. And that moment with me, I felt so... First of all, I felt cared about, which is something that most people probably don't feel when they see that, but I felt cared about. And I also in the same breath that I felt cared about, I felt alone because I was like, oh shit, everything I'm doing that I think the world depends on is so insignificant. Everything that I think will ruin my life will let everybody else live a regular life. And it's that main character talk, right? Where yes, I sometimes, I'm susceptible to making life about myself.
This is when you realize you were a side character.
No, yeah. But I'm susceptible to that too. And I think a lot of people are. I think more people are more conscious about it. But I definitely have tried to minimize that since that moment. But I could definitely see myself getting into a conversation and making the conversation about me. I've done that and I've tried to get better at it. But in that moment, I was like, damn, not everything's about me. And it's not like it took me to 18 years old when I did that to find out that everything's not about me. But that's when you know when it's like a blowing wind, right? You feel that wind all the time. Like you know it's there. But the day there's a fucking gust and fucking knocks you over, you're like, oh fuck, that shit is really there. Like I always knew it was around, but that shit is really there. I don't know. That's just something that I felt. But you've traveled a lot. How have your experiences been throughout America, and what's the overall consensus? New Jersey's the best. New Jersey's the worst.
Man, no,
You're not jacking Jersey.
You hate living here.
No, it's not that I'm not jacking Jersey. Like I'll always love New Jersey and I'll always love Newark. But there's definitely really really nice places out there, man. What really was crazy to me is how much of America is just farmland.
Yeah.
Just driving through like fucking like rows and rows of corn and weed and all this crap, and I was just like, holy shit,
signal.
There's nobody here. We live in a pretty fucking big country, and like there's just a lot of empty space where there's just nothing.
And I think we get jaded because we live in a city, but we forget that even New Jersey itself is so green and there's so much farmland.
Once you go down, like start going south to like different cities, you're like, wow, look how far the houses are from each other.
That was like one of the signals of wealth for me growing up, where it was like where you can't see your neighbor. I was
right. Oh my god.
Yeah,
the farther apart your houses were, the more grass you saw, the more trees you were like, damn, these people got money, bro.
Another sign of wealth, a front yard.
Dude,
That's a sign of wealth.
Having a basketball, like those little portable basketball.
I'm gonna do it. Hear me out, just because we have to, for the sake of content. Hear me out. If you had a front yard growing up, I immediately assumed your family had mad bread. Like I just thought you guys were really well off.
If you had a speck of grass, bro, I knew you were making 10 times the money my family was making. Bro.
A backyard, a front yard, a fridge that made ice.
Or if there was like more than 10 feet from you and your neighbor.
Oh my god,
Right.
these motherfuckers was rolling in dough. Right. But that is a realization that even when I went to Cali, right, I learned about myself that I'm a city boy. Not like city boys. Like no, I'm a city boy. I love living in a city. I like when things are accessible, because if you live in those big like in those like more suburban and like rural neighborhoods, you realize that you can't do shit without a car. Like you can't do shit without a car.
Walmart is an hour away.
Walmart's an hour away, or like you need to get on a highway.
Or you have a Walmart nearby. Because a lot of those towns didn't even like have anything like that. Where if you needed something, oh man, it's 2 hours away.
But that's crazy to me. And you realize how the system has programmed it. I'm not saying the system. I mean like it's like a systemic issue, because you can't even move into these neighborhoods if you don't have the money to afford a car.
Yeah.
And that's already a luxury on its own, even being able to purchase a vehicle. So you kind of see throughout the stages of going through the rest of America, you're like, oh, these are the barriers that are being placed on our people that don't let them get up and up and up and up and up. But it's kind of crazy.
I mean, there were some times where I remember, this is actually like a story.
Okay.
So like there was a time where me and my brother had to go see some dude in Tennessee who like lived in like the middle of fucking nowhere. He lived 3 hours away from the nearest town, right? So we were just driving for a long ass fucking time. Yeah, we were driving for a long time to his house. It was so bad that we knew, like the GPS, we always like track ahead of us, so we knew that we were going to be far from this guy, from like civilization. So we had to get like extra gas just in case we got fucked over there, right? So we get there and we're like helping the guy out, because we did like tech work, right? So we're helping the guy out and fixing his computer, and this guy has he tells us off rip that he's kind of sick, that he has like a condition, so he didn't want to like basically impede in our space, so he went to the living room, to like his living room, while we were in his bedroom fixing his computer and his printer. And all of a sudden, like I'm working on his computer, right, and all of a sudden I just hear like gasps of like struggling sounds, like he was like somebody was struggling. My brother like has his headphones on, he takes his headphones off and he looks at me, and I look at him, and then I like peep my head outside to like look at him in the hallway in the living room, and he's like grabbing his chest, like heaving.
Oh my god!
And I'm like, "Are you okay? Or do you need help? Should I call 911?" And he goes like, "Nah, I'm fine."
This happens every Tuesday.
Oh
And
my
so
god.
basically, he calmed down and he told us that he had a heart attack.
Damn.
Yeah, like so he
Dude
had
just
like
tanked the heart attack.
Yeah, he literally just tanked a heart
That
attack.
shit.
He literally tanked a heart attack, and he said that like that hadn't happened in a while because he had like a heart transplant or something. I'm like, dude, what the fuck?
Dude, how pissed would you have been if he had died? I would have been pissed.
I
Bro. I would have been.
I
pissed.
wouldn't have been mad. Me being mad for this guy dying.
No, I'd be pissed. 'Cause I'm like, damn, bro.
Now we gotta drive 3 hours to the hospital.
They're gonna wait. I called the police. They're gonna take 6 hours to get here, and now they're gonna think I fucking killed you, and I'll be stuck in this middle of nowhere Tennessee town for the next 6 days. Like, this is ridiculous. I would have been pissed.
I was just really scared, man. I was it was scary. I was just like, holy shit! Like if this guy dies, after that, I told my brother to just stick nearby him. I was like, just stay in the living room with them, just in case like something happens. But what I was really thinking about was, man, if I have to give this guy CPR, it's curtains, man. I'm not gonna do it.
You don't know how to give CPR?
I know how to do CPR. It's just that I don't know if I'd be able to do that for a stranger, man.
Really?
Yeah, like I don't know if I'd be able to like just because there are like some like what's the word for it? I know like during CPR classes. Did you take CPR classes in science?
Mm-hmm.
They ask you like, oh, you have to ask the person for help.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to ask the person that if you can help them.
Yeah, if they say no, you can only help them as soon as they pass out.
Yeah.
Well, I'm CPR and AED
You gotta
certified.
you have to whip out your phone. He'll be like, "What? Say that one more time." Like you
Right.
don't want help, right?
Right.
Because it only goes to the point where you can possibly break like a rib or something. Or
Well,
like
you definitely break a rib.
Yeah, you break something. So if they didn't ask you for any help and you like break their rib, then they can potentially sue you. A lot of people don't. Like that's not something that's probably very common where if I saved your life, you're gonna sue me for breaking your rib. But it is like a safety precaution that people want. But yeah, you have to start going to those places with preface like, please do not die around me.
Yeah.
Well, I have to put in like the fucking terms.
If you have
Yeah,
a condition,
like,
bro, please let me know ahead of time. I'll have the paramedics there in 20 minutes.
That reminds me of the time. It completely unrelated, kind of related though. I had to do an interview when I was like applying to colleges, and the guy I interviewed with, he like called me. He was like, "Oh, like just so you know, like I'm kind of like I have a condition." Same thing. He was like, "Oh, I have a condition. So like we can't do it in a public place. Like, would you mind coming to my home?" And I was like, first of all, I was like, sketch the fuck out, because I went and it was the same thing, right? It was in Jersey though, but my GPS like didn't know where to go. It was like a house between trees that I had to like take a specific path to get to. And then I get to his house and we're doing the interview, and then every couple seconds he's like he had a spitting bucket because like he had like a chest condition that made it so that he had too much mucus in like his throat and lungs. So like throughout the whole interview, like he was just hacking and like, yeah. So how was your like? And I was just freaking the fuck out the whole time. There was like a point where he just started coughing a lot, and I was like, oh no, like that boy got mad spit in his mouth. Like I'm not about to fucking give that boy CPR. Like I signed an oath or whatever when I got my CPR certification, but fuck that. Like this boy's going, gone. His wife was in the next room. I was about to call.
I'll teach you how to do it.
Yeah, please. But I get that. But
On your travels, oh sorry.
Go.
I was gonna say, on your travels, like I know, well, like okay, so like when you were traveling to these places, or like where everybody's like, 3 hours away from civilization. I'm guessing it was always people with money, or did it always like sometimes you just go visit people and like you saw the extremities of like poverty and like wealth?
It wasn't people with money. I will say that. Like it wasn't people who were like they didn't have like mansions. They had houses, but having a house doesn't mean that you have a lot of money. Right. It just means that you were able to buy a house, that the bank approved you for a loan to buy a house. That doesn't mean you have like crazy money. But I actually think it was the opposite. I think the farther you were from civilization, probably the less money you paid for your house, because they know how hard it is for you to go from where you are to the nearest grocery store. Yeah. So I think that a lot of those people definitely were paying actually less for their houses.
yeah, there's extreme poverty in the South. Like I mean, we have a great
They're definitely
example.
making less money than us.
Yeah. There's an example, just like living in the city, it's more seeable because the extremely poor are literally on the streets.
Yeah.
But in those suburban towns, it's like the extremely poor have homes, but run down. Or I'm not saying that all poor people have bad homes. That's not what I'm saying at all. But it's definitely a different site of poverty.
Yeah.
Because if you go to those suburban towns, like how are you going to see a homeless person? when all the houses are 50 yards away from each other. Like, you're never going to see a homeless person because it's just not accessible to even homeless people. The reason homeless people come to cities is because everything's walking distance. That's the reason that homeless people usually come to
I've never
cities.
thought about that.
Yeah, because it's easier to survive in a city than it would be to survive in the middle of bumfuck nowhere where you just have to survive off the animals in the forest. You know what I mean? So that's why homelessness, at least in our community, is a lot more visible. But that's also why you see less homelessness in those types of communities. That's just a little, for those of you that didn't know, that's just a fact. But yeah, no, because Kevin's looking at me crazy right now.
I'm not. I'm just looking at you.
No, I know.
But I'm an avid listener as well.
I know. It's just funny because we're like so far apart from each other today. It's not usually like today's been a kind of like
I'm
a
the
mix up for
divider.
us. Yeah, like today we're drinking out of glass cups and shit, and it's
Yeah,
been.
I'm
There's a
feeling
lot
very
of
fancy.
HMO firsts here.
I know it's a lot of HMO first. Like we're all wearing a different color. We kind of
First
look
time
like
I've ever used a coaster.
we kind of look like Christmas right now, red, blue, and green. It's kind of a lot.
Is blue
for
part
me.
of the Christmas colors?
Oh,
think
like
so.
Christmas lights have blue in them.
Christmas lights
guess.
have blue in them, but yeah. What else? What other things have you seen on these travels? What do you travel for? Well, don't say what company you work for, but
Yeah, I worked for. I'm not gonna say the company. 'Cause they're-
just dox yourself.
yeah, man. Like, and I just don't have really good ties with this company anymore. It's just like I don't wanna, yeah. So, but I traveled because I was doing tech work. So basically, like the shirts that I printed for you guys, and the sweater that I'm wearing now.
Yeah, talk about those things. Like talk about clothing and talk about how you've gone from musician
I don't want to.
to you don't want to talk about clothes.
No, man, I hate it.
You don't like making clothes.
Really?
I like making clothes. I just like hate the industry that I'm in. I hope my coworkers don't watch this, man. But I hate the industry that I'm in. It's just not for me. Like I can't see myself doing this for
Wait,
very
why
long.
not? Why not?
I just don't like the industry. It's so boring, man.
What's the industry?
like apparel decoration? Like how like you actually like print the shorts that you're wearing or like the sweater that I'm wearing, right? Like to get this onto here, like this came as a blank,
Right.
so like to get this onto here, it requires like special processes, and it's just boring.
You just don't like it.
I don't like it. I literally got into it like by accident just because I was looking for another job, and like they were hiring, and I just thought it was tech work. Like I thought I was just gonna be like working on computers.
Like a technician.
Yeah, I thought I was gonna be like working on computers, and they fucking debated me. They were just like, "Yeah, you're actually working on printers, and actually you're gonna be traveling to work on other people's printers." And I'm like, "All right, bro." But it was paying so good that I was
Dude.
like, "Fuck it, man! Like I'll take this job." It was paying a lot more than when I was working at T-Mobile. I'll tell you that.
Damn. How was T-Mobile?
I know, fuck that. I'm not even like that's going way too far.
Why
back.
you wasn't fucking with T-Mobile?
Nah, man.
The customer is always wrong, bro.
Dude, I work customer service. I hated that shit.
I don't like the customer service aspect of it. I remember the one time, like this one story comes to mind where this lady wanted to pay her, she wanted to pay her bill, right? And her bill was like she was past due by like $100 or $200 or something like that, like some big number. And at that point, T-Mobile just cut your shit off, right?
Right.
And she came in like giving me like a sob story on why she couldn't pay for it. And don't get me wrong, like if I controlled it, I would be like, if I controlled it, I'd be like, you know what, I'll give you an extra however many weeks or months or whatever. I don't give a fuck, but I don't control it. I'm just a guy on the computer who tells you that they cut your shit off. So she came in with a sob story, and she was paying me in coins, man. Like she pulled out a coin purse,
Nah.
and I was like, she was like putting it slowly in front of me, looking at me with sad puppy eyes. And I'm like, this is not going to turn your bill back on.
Yeah.
Like I can't put an imaginary number in the computer and it's going to turn your bill back on. And she got mad at it instantly ignited like her anger for me. She was like, "Oh, I can't believe you're doing this to me. So you don't care about nobody who's struggling right now." And I'm like, "Dude, I don't control this.
Yeah.
I'm just a guy at the computer." And if I like put in like an imaginary number so that her phone will turn back on, I'll just get fired
Yeah.
because they would say that I'm stealing money. So I'm like, dude, at that point, it's my job or you not being able to pay your bill, and it's like, I'm sorry.
Hear me out. If you
It's all right.
oh, I'm sorry, guys. Hear me out. If you can avoid working a customer-facing job your whole life, do it.
Yeah, just avoid it.
Just avoid it. They're the worst jobs. They're the least rewarding jobs.
Yeah, retail and restaurant business. Yeah,
just dealing with people in general, bro, that are always wrong, but swear that they're right, or swear that because they've been a loyal customer for 20 years and I don't give a fuck that they're gonna get some kind of special treatment.
They're not.
right. Like, dude, like when customers be like, "Oh, you're gonna lose a customer. I've been here for 20 years." I'm like, "Bro, I've
I've
been
been here for 3 months.
I've been here for 3 months, and I don't give a fuck. I don't
you
care
think I'm
about your
that
20
loyal
years."
to T-Mobile, dog? I just remember working at a call center, and it was just funny. It was just really funny. Like the things you hear and see, and the people like giving you stories, and the thing about me, right? This goes back to me thinking I'm the main character. I get so disillusioned sometimes. There's this one time, right, when I was still just like a regular dude and not no manager, right? Because I ended up being a manager, whatever, no big deal. This one girl kept calling in, and I kept getting her, and she sounded cute on the. I swear to God, I don't know if I was just so down bad at the time. But she called in like 4 times on the same day, and me and her. It's not like I choose the phone call I get. I just get whatever phone calls coming in. But I got her like 3-4 times, and on like the 3rd time, she was like, "Oh, this is you, Juan." And I was like, "Yeah, it was good, whatever your name is." And then me and her were like just chopping it up, and I was like 2 seconds away from being like, "You got Instagram?" It got to a point where I was like, "Damn, yo, she sounds cute on the phone. Like she sounds like mad sweet."
Where you were trying to rizz it up. You were like, "We can't keep meeting like
Bro.
this."
But you hear the horror stories. I remember, oh my God, bro. I remember there was this one time where this dude, so we had a chat bot, right? But like we would then take over the chat once they asked for like a representative or something. Before I even got to the motherfucker, and you could see what they're talking with the chat, right?
You told me this story.
Bro, before I even got to it, this motherfucker was cursing out the chat bot. He was like, "Fuck you, bitch. Fuck you. Give me a representative. Fuck you, fucking robot. Fuck you." And then I'm like, "Oh, okay." So I take the chat, whatever. I'm like, "Oh, hey, thank you for contacting. Like, how can I help you?" He was like, "Fuck you. Give me a real person." I was like, "I am a real person. What can I do for you?" He started cursing me out, whatever. It took him like it was like an hour and a half chat. And it was just, I preferred being a chat, but... yeah, at the end he was just like, "Oh, I need your full name. I'm gonna sue you, and I want them to know that it's you." And I'm like, "No, dude, no."
The closest I got to working in like some sort of like customer service like job was when I did when I was still at NJIT. I worked for NSO. I don't know if you knew, like New Student Orientation, and like, oh my God, bro, it wasn't even the students too. People don't read. Like shit, you'll give them exactly what they need to do, where to go, how to do it, who they need to call, everything, and they just refuse. Like. But then there's also the worst part of it is that, like, I don't want to say parents that are too involved, but it's parents that are, like, too involved to the point that their kids don't know how to do shit. And it's like, bro, they're dorming here, right? And that's like, I remember, this wasn't my story, but this happened to one of my other, like, fellow leaders who was, like, talking with this person, with somebody's mom, who was, like straight up bitching at that point, the way she was like she explaining, because like she kept like asking about the height of the beds, because she wanted to know if you can put stuff under the beds, so she wanted to know the exact height.
And they're usually adjustable too.
I don't know. I don't know. Maybe
dorm beds, you can like,
right. They're like
if all dorm beds are the same, you can literally like, they have like the legs, right? The legs are connected, and they have, this is the most boring thing in the world, by the way. Sorry that I'm explaining how dorm beds work, but they just have like a bunch of different hooks, and you could literally take off the bed, put it on a higher hook if you want to.
But like the thing that was funny was that this woman was just tormenting her the whole day, talking about like the height of the beds to know what they can put. And like every single time it was just like, "Hey, you can check the fucking website. It will not be on there, but you can call somebody. Like you can call like the residential office, and they'll tell you. Yeah, but I want you to tell me." To the point where they were talking about like banking and some other stuff. Like, I don't know. It's like, oh, if you need to go access an ATM or you need to go talk to somebody, like financial aid office is this way. And then this woman would just randomly like, boom, because it was all Zoom, because it was still the pandemic. Right. And they're just like, I just had a question of whether the bed height was 6 inches or 3 inches. And she was like, "Lady, please leave me the fuck alone."
That is insane. You really get those types of people all the time. I used to have it. So I don't know if it's Orthodox Jewish people, but there's a group of Jewish people who can't use technology up until like a certain. Sorry if I'm completely in the wrong right now, but there is like, I'm pretty sure, I'm pretty sure they're like Orthodox Jewish people, Jewish women can only use, I don't know. I'm going to butcher this, but there's a group of ladies from a specific area that would always call us on the same time frame, right? And they would always ask us the same questions.
Yeah.
And so they'd be like, "Oh, do you guys have this on the website?" And I'm like, "Oh, you can just check the website." They're like, "Oh, I don't have a computer." And I'm like, "Oh, how do you plan to place an order?" I can't do this for you. But then it got to a point where they like figured out how they could place an order, but they would call first and be like, "Oh, is this on the website?" And then what I would do is like they'd give me whatever it is, and then I'd look it up, and be like, "I can't find it on mine."
Unfortunately, it's sold out this morning.
In order, because there was a point where we could place orders for people, but I would just be like, "Oh, I can't find it on my end." They'd be like, "Oh, but I see it here," and I'm like, "Oh, if you see it on your end, I'd say place the order because I don't see it on my end." And just to avoid this back and forth, but people are crazy. There was this one lady who oh my god, bro, I was a manager at the time. She was like talking to an agent and complaining about something, about a refund, right? And so I eventually get the escalation. I'm like on the phone with her. I'm like, "Hey, this is the manager, whatever." She's like, "I made a purchase with my debit card. I want to go back in there and them give me cash for my refund." I'm like, "No, like that's not gonna happen. They're gonna give you it back on the card you placed the order, like you bought something with." And she was like, "Oh, but you know how debit works, right?" She spent 35 minutes. I shit you not, 35 minutes explaining the difference between debit and credit to me. And I was like, "That's great. It's not going back in cash. Like you're getting it back on your card." And she was like, "What's your name? This is illegal. I'm gonna take you to court. I want the corporate email." And I would just give her like a regular customer service email, and I would end up responding to it anyway. Right. And, I don't know.
You know what shade they are when they start talking about suing
Oh
and legal
my
business,
God.
bro.
I don't know.
You know who doesn't do that?
Yeah, but so just going on employment and stuff, how do you feel about it? I know you're a bit of a I don't want to try to even say that word. Entrepreneur. Entrepreneur.
It's because you were reading it, right? It's because you were reading it, so you thought it was entrepreneur for a second.
Entrepreneur.
So, yeah, man. I like. So in general, and this is like goes back to like the job that I was taking, like traveling across the country. I remember taking that job and feeling like it was like a blessing because I was getting paid so much money to travel. And because I was traveling, they were also paying for like my hotels and my food. So not only was I making like a shitload of money, but I also was like not spending any money because I wasn't spending money on food or anything.
And was that the first time you had left around here?
Yeah, it's the first time I ever left the tri-state area.
That's fire. That's so far.
Yeah, so like I was just seeing new things, and I thought it was just like an amazing opportunity. I was like, dude, like this is it. Like I was so happy. And then one day I was kind of like fed up with my job, and I was gonna ask my boss for a raise, and I did, and he actually gave it to me.
Oh, nice.
And so hold on. So he gave me a raise.
We're on the right track.
We're on the right track. And then he said something to me. He said something to me that stuck with me. And he said, "Miguel, do you know why I came from the Philippines to start business here in the United States? If I was making so much money in the Philippines, because he was a multimillionaire already in the Philippines."
Okay.
And he said, "Do you know why?" And I said,
"Can I guess?"
Yeah, go ahead.
Because the people in the Philippines were like, "It's not real until you got American money."
No.
Oh, what do you think?
I don't know. I just want to move it along. I want to know.
So he said the reason why is because it's easy to make Americans into slaves.
The fuck?
So
that was my second guess.
Obviously, with the connotation. Yeah, no. that came out bad.
It's a good thing you didn't say the company or the name.
Yeah, no. So that came out bad. But what he meant was, and he's like, "All right, I'm gonna give you this raise, and what are you gonna do?" And in my eyes, I was just gonna be more comfortable. But I think what he thought I was gonna say was, "Oh, I was gonna buy, XYZ. I was gonna like buy like these things that I didn't really need." And he said that he has always experienced that, where when he hires somebody in the United States, the first thing that they do is buy a new car, get a more expensive apartment. Actually, it is what I did. I actually got a more expensive apartment. So I got a more expensive apartment. And he said that with Americans, he noticed that like he could give them a raise, and they would get something more expensive, and then they were enslaved to his raise or like enslaved to his money. So he's like, "You'll be my employee forever." And he said that to me. He was like, "You're gonna be my employee forever."
And then you were like, "Watch how fast I leave now."
Right? So once he said that to me, it kind of like stuck with me, where I was like, "Man, like he's right. Like I'm putting myself in a box if I take this raise." And I'm happy with where I am. And for a while, I actually did put myself in that box because that company ended up going to the shitter, and he stopped paying people. And I went like a month and a half, almost 2 months without getting paid because I was just so comfortable with the money I was making. I was like, well, when we weather this storm, I'll have to make all that money back, and he's going to pay me all the money that he owes me. I'm going to be rolling in money. But it really sucked. And I remember the second part that kind of clicked for me, where I realized I really needed to quit, was I was watching YouTube, and it was like a Dave Chappelle interview. And during the interview, he was talking about when he quit the Comedy Central specials back in like the early 2000s. He basically like canceled the contract for it to do this Chappelle show. He turned down $50 million, and that was like a huge like thing on the news where like Dave Chappelle turns down a $50 million deal, and people were kind of like wondering what the hell was wrong with him.
Mm-hmm.
And during that interview, he kind of like told everybody like, you know, they were putting my name on the line. Like they were gonna own his name. They were gonna own the name Chappelle.
Right.
Like if he had signed that contract. And his realization came, and this is like where I kind of like drew my analogy or like my my motivation for like quitting that job. Right. His thing came from where he was watching a documentary about like how Bushmen find water when water is scarce. So
What are Bushmen?
It's like a tribe in Africa.
Okay.
Yeah, so he basically when water is scarce, right? Bushmen will make something called like a salt trap. So it's basically when they put a hole in like dirt or like into a tree, and they put a piece of salt in there, knowing that baboons would want the salt because salt really like baboon.
Salt really likes baboons.
Baboons really like
Baboons
salt.
really like salt.
And so they'll put like a lump of salt inside the hole, and the baboons would come and like put their hand in the hole to get the salt. But when they grab it, their hand gets bigger, obviously because they're like grabbing the salt, so they can't get their hand out.
Yeah.
Now, if the baboon is smart, he'll let go of the salt to get his hand out, right? But he really wants it, so he holds on to it. So then the Bushman grabs the baboon, puts him in a cage, and then gives him all the salt he wants. Like he just gives him all the salt that he wants, and the baboon's just going at it. But then the salt makes the baboon thirsty. So the Bushman lets the baboon go. The first place he goes to is water, and the baboon follows him, and then they both drink to their fill.
Oh, wow.
And in that analogy, Chappelle felt like he was the baboon, but he was smart enough to let go of the salt.
Right. Damn, that's actually very, very deep. I don't know. Throughout my entire life, I've thought about this like idea of being an entrepreneur and this idea of you know, working for myself. Even with the podcast, right? It's in a sense of trying to get that independence of working for these corporations. But at the end of the day, there is something about comfortability that is so comfortable. You know what I mean? I know it's like a redundant statement to make, but there's something about comfortability, especially when you don't come from a lot, that you're like, oh, wait, I'm making a consistent check every so often. Like, this is fire.
Yeah, I just think now, like, our generation just approaches money differently. Like, for me, right? Like, the advice I've been given by multiple people, like in terms of, like, older generations, not just, like, older people, just older generations, whether it be, like, 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, 50 years older than me, is, like, you know, just stay in the same place, you know, get a good, like, standing with, like, whatever company it is, stay there, and then, like, build your way up from there.
You've heard that
But
from people
absolutely.
in their 20s?
No, I'm saying 20 years older than me.
Oh, 20 years older.
Yeah,
I understood
like 20 years
20,
older, 30. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, but now that does not slide. Like,
No.
I've had at least 3 or 4 different jobs now, because every single time, it's like the bosses have always just tried to take advantage of you. Where it's like, maybe that works for you. Maybe you wanted to be a team player, but not me. Like, my first job when I got like a nepo baby, like I went to my dad's job. I was like, yo, give me a fucking job right now, bro.
This guy's a nepo baby, bro.
Literally. But, like, I knew what the fuck I was doing. But I already knew the shit was going to be asked, because I think I asked for, like, I was like, give me 13. Give me 13 an hour. They couldn't give me the 13. They gave me $12.75. And people were like, oh, why are you complaining about 25 cents? Why didn't you give it to me?
Yeah.
No cap. But then, at that point, I was working under somebody who was making, like, $25 an hour. Who, by the way, did not know how to do shit.
Okay.
And, like, he was like, oh, do this for me, do this for me, do this. But I'd just be like, no, that's not part of, like, my pay grade. Like,
Yeah.
I was here because you wanted me to work on computers. Now that I worked on, like, just setup, it was like a technician kind of thing where you just, you know, plug everything in, get all the pieces. If the piece doesn't work, you know, replace it, get another one. And they were like, oh, no, work on this because, like, you need to learn how to, like, you know, set up fucking like
Whatever,
the
yeah.
motherboards this certain way, power supplies. You have to learn how to build power supplies. So I'm like, well, am I gonna get a pay raise? It was like, no, like, why would you do that? Like, you have nothing else to do, so like
Yeah.
come do this. I was like, no. And I would literally get into heated debates with like, because my mom and dad both work at this place, and they'd be like, bro, what are you doing? Like relax. Like, why are you like being so like just do
Low-key,
the work?
you were wilding because your parents worked there because they could retaliate on your parents.
Well, like, I mean, but I wasn't being like disrespectful anyway. I was just being like, well, no, because that's not what I'm supposed to be doing. Like, why are you sending me to go do this when like this is what you brought me in here to do? And that just happened across. It happened at BU when I worked for like the work study, where it was like organizing papers. And then out of nowhere, they were like, okay, now we need you to write and do this and do all this other thing. I was like, well, this wasn't even in the job description. So you just want me to learn a whole different set of traits and not like get anything. Yeah, get compensated or do anything for it. I was like, you do this because like you're getting paid twice, 3 times what I'm making.
Yeah.
There's no reason for me to make it. And at that point, that's when I left, because I was like, oh, well, you like when I was working there, I was like, you know what? I took my dad's advice. I was like, you know what? I'll do it, whatever. It was like, oh no, you're like, watch, like you'll get compensated. And I didn't. I was just doing extra work for no reason. I was just, well, now I'm just gonna leave.
Yeah, so I mean that even goes, and what's really interesting about that is that the work culture of the United States really shames that, because like that became like a term. Like they're like, oh, you're quiet quitting.
Quiet quitting or silent quitting? Is it quiet quitting?
I think it's quiet quitting.
Yeah,
Sorry,
quiet
I didn't
quitting.
mean to correct you.
So like they're trying to shame you for like wanting to be paid what you're worth.
Yeah.
And that is like a product, or like that the idea of shaming it is like a product of like how previous generations like worked.
Yeah, they used to expect to stay at this company for 15, 20
Exactly.
years,
It
get
was
a
like a
1% increase every
Which
6 years,
It doesn't
and
even
not
match
complain.
inflation.
Yeah.
Like I remember I've told my parents, they were like, oh yeah, but every year they gave me like a 1%, 2% raise. So like it's, I'm steadily growing.
It's
I
not
was
even an
like, that's
inflation
like,
rate. Like, it's not
like you're
even-
not even like you're still staying. You're going below, like what you would be worth for this year if it was like to match inflation. You're just losing money every year. You're not
Yeah.
gaining money because everything's super
They're
expensive.
just dangling that carrot in front of you.
Dude, when I was still working at my previous job, I remember I was up for a promotion. I got denied the promotion, and then one of my managers came up to me and like, "Oh, Juan, do you want to like, what skills do you want to learn so you're available, like ready for this next role?" And I was like, I was already in the running for the next role. What do you mean new skills? I'm not learning anything new. And they were so taken aback, and I was like, oh yeah, like that's it. If I'm not getting a raise, if I'm not getting promoted, I'm not learning anything
The
else.
thing I feel that people think is like scary about our generation is that we really don't care at that point. It's like, because like I remember the fear that like my parents would put into me, and it was like one they're immigrants, one they came when they started working, they were just scared that they were not gonna have a job, being undocumented at the time. They were just like, I literally just have to do whatever they tell me to do. But I was like, well, I'm documented. It was like,
I mean, I'm undocumented, but I still, dude. When I got comfortable at my last job, I remember one of my managers once told me, he's like, Juan, you only talk to me like this because I'm the nice one. I'm like, I will yell at everybody like this. Like, this is not just for you. I remember we had a meeting with like the big boss, right? And I was in there telling them like, oh, you guys promote laziness, like you guys promote the worst people on purpose, just so. And that's the thing about being a good worker, right? If you ever worked retail or like customer facing jobs, or those types of jobs, you'll understand that if you're really good at your fucking job, they won't promote you because they want you to keep doing that job.
right.
Because
Well,
once you're promoted, you get new responsibilities that will take you away from the other ones. Like I worked at a call center. I used to have like 30 contacts per hour, which was insane. Like the minimum, like the average was 8. You were supposed to have 8, and I used to do like 28 contacts per hour, right? And so the first time they tried to deny me a promotion, for some random shit. It was like, honestly, like the worst part was we had evaluations, and they tried to tell me that I didn't pass my evaluation. And then when we went down through the list, I passed my evaluation. And I was like, so why didn't I get this promotion? And they couldn't tell me. So I went on this big like shitting spree, and I shit on every single person in the company. And that's the thing, right? You get so jaded because the second time promotions came along and I got denied again, right? After having gone the first one, I got denied the second one. And the second time I was sitting there, and that's when I knew that the system had fucking defeated me at this moment. I was like, at this point, I don't even want the promotion because I don't want to have to keep fighting for promotions. I want them to see my work and be like, damn, this motherfucker know how to work. This motherfucker's good at his job. He deserves to be promoted, but they don't. They see that you're good at your job. They see that you're good at doing a specific set of tasks. They're like, why would I give him new ones? Just make him keep doing the ones he's good at. But no, that's fucking shitty as hell. Like, that's shitty as fuck. And I get that. I get the sentiment of wanting to leave. I think every single time I've left a job, which hasn't been many times, I haven't had the most amount of jobs, probably like 5 jobs. but it's always been a significant increase as opposed to staying at that job and getting promoted within. It's always so much more. Like you hear people getting like 15-30% raises, leaving their jobs when their job is offering them a 5% inflation raise, which is fine, right? If people like to be comfortable, you know, there's a lot of benefits to staying at a job as well. Like, let's say it's a job that's close to your home. It's a job that lets you leave early when you have to pick up your kids. It's a job that lets you take an hour lunch. There are other benefits than the money. And once you get to a certain level of money, then those things don't matter anymore, right? An extra $10,000, well, yeah, it's great. If I have to sacrifice like an extra 30 minutes driving or an extra 15 minutes driving, I don't want that job.
Yeah.
You know
there's also just a lot of like, it's just easier to be comfortable.
It's easier. It's so much easier.
There's a lot of discomfort in like just like taking risks and just like going out there. But that's one of those things that I kind of want to learn is just how to seek discomfort and how to like seek putting myself out, or just putting myself out there and just taking risks. Because you know, what's that quote? It's like fortune favors the bold or something like that.
I don't know.
I don't know that one. Sorry.
Yeah, fortune favors the bold. But
I just don't want to follow the path that like my parents are in, just because like, for example, I told him, I was like, bro, if you don't like it or like you're really just not happy, like just leave. And no,
Kevin, that's a slippery slope. Kevin.
Yes, I'm saying
that's
yes, but like the thing is, don't give me some random bullshit excuse and then like be mad when I call you out on it. Because like, for example, it was like, oh, because like you were in school, so the exact same was like, oh, they're comfortable in the fact that like we can leave early whenever we want, we can just talk and be like, hey, like my kid is sick, I need to go get him, and then I'll come right back, like that being comfortable. But then after that, it was just like, all I'm hearing about is like you complaining that they're not giving you the raise that you deserve. You're doing work that other people are doing and getting paid $10 an hour more, $15 an hour more, $20 an hour more, and you're just doing it because like they got you. Like they're literally just like, you're a hard worker and you come home like, oh my God, I built 20 machines today. Who else is doing this? And I'm like, why are you proud that they just scammed the fuck out of you?
The difference is, right, the major difference, at least with our parents, I won't speak for generations of Americans in general, just with our parents, right? So there's this really nice quote. I don't know if it's a quote necessarily. It's like this Instagram post that one of my friends once sent me. But they said, my parents were tasked with survivability. Like they had to survive. Now I'm tasked with I wish I could just tell you the quote off the top of my head, but I don't know it. But basically, they were tasked with survivability. We're tasked with foundation, and the difference is their whole life was just survive. Do whatever the fuck it takes. Survive. If I can't get a better job, fuck it, because my kids are still eating. Like survive. Our task is now, of course, we're never going to live like that anymore because we have already not surpassed, there's nothing wrong with being it, but have changed that aspect of our lives. That aspect of survivability has drastically changed from one generation to the next. Yeah. And it's really easy. It's even what we were talking about on the last podcast. It's so easy to get jaded and be mad at your parents for not wanting more. But at the same time, you have to recognize that those motherfuckers don't have, as much as like we want to think they have the same opportunity, they don't. No,
yeah, like it's especially like, because now it was like kind of just digging deep into like a therapy session. Like what's going on? Because like at this point, like if it's really like something that's like you can't do, don't just like, you know, like I'm your fucking kid. Don't like, you know, tiptoe around there. Like try to like what we were talking about in the last episode. Like, oh, like I'm not hungry. Like you can eat, but like you're like, we know that you're hungry now. Like we're grown as fuck. Like I know that I can see that you're struggling. You just refuse to say it. And then like now what they're going through is like, well, I'm 55, 56. Like who would want to hire me at this point when there's so many people a lot younger, you know, studied, they got these degrees, and they just like could show a lot more promise in the company as opposed to like me just, you know, leaving and possibly retiring in the next 10, 15 years.
Listen, I found the thing. That's why I'm on my phone. I'm sorry. I don't usually pull out my phone for the guest here. But my parents were tasked with the job of survival, and I with self-actualization. The immigrant generational gap is real. What a luxury it is to search for purpose, meaning, and fulfillment. These things that we're complaining about are a luxury to have complaints about. You know, I know it's shitty to say out loud, but it's like a realization that you have to have even within yourself. Like these small complaints are like, damn, like at least I'm complaining about one job paying me $70,000 and another job paying me $85,000. You know what I mean? It's like These motherfuckers are not thinking about that shit.
I mean, I feel like complaining, like you said, like being able to complain comes with a certain amount of luxury.
Yeah. Just going back a little bit, I feel like another reason why we see so much like divide between the generations, because generations are different. Like we're just so very much different.
Yeah.
I recently came across a book called The Fourth Turning, and in that book, basically they kind of break it down into like America always has. It seems that America always has like these 80-year blocks where like every 20 years within those 80-year blocks, there's different. I guess the best way to put it is different times in American culture that'll always repeat. So it goes from the high, awakening, unraveling, and a crisis. And right now we're in a crisis. So yeah, it kind of sucks because we're in a crisis. But I mean, if you don't feel it, it's definitely there. Like 2000, like it basically started for us. Our crisis started at 2008 financial crisis, and then from there we had COVID, political divide, which is what we were talking about. The unemployment crisis, the housing crisis, which is crazy right now. Like you're paying $1,600 for a 1-bedroom. Like that's ridiculous. Before that was the unraveling, and that was like 9/11, the Gulf War, the Iraqi War, Afghanistani wars, the LA riots, the Berlin Wall. Before that was the awakening. That's where like artists like Bob Dylan, the Beatles, LSD was invented.
Can you read out these timelines?
The crisis 2008 to whenever it ends. The unraveling 1984 to 2008, the awakening 1964 to 1984, and that's like Gen X, and then the high, which was like probably one of the greatest moments in American history, 1946 to 1964. That's when rock and roll was invented. I know you're gonna say like the civil rights, but look, the reason why it's like some of the greatest moments is because a lot of that stuff, a lot of the bad parts of American history were ended at that moment. So like the civil rights movement ended segregation, rock and roll, TV, the space program, Corvettes, bikinis. Like a lot of our
they spit when they do bikinis, bro.
But bikinis, as in like women were just more accepted into society to do whatever the hell they want. Right. They're like just seen as more equal. Before that, they had to be more prude.
Oh, I thought that's when bikinis were invented.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's just like bikinis were just more socially accepted.
Yo, whoever invented bikinis needs to get their dick sucked. There I was making the bikinis. You never see those? But right now we're in the crisis.
Yeah, so right now we're in the crisis, and we don't really know what's going to happen. All we know is that it's definitely going to get more difficult. But luckily, during crises, after the crisis is always going to be a high, and
so you just gotta wait.
You just have to wait.
We just have to survive. We just have to survive.
You just have to wait. But
Corvette
also
2 about to drop. Oh my god, Bikini 2 about to drop.
But we also can see just things that have come from other history blocks. So during the last crisis, these people were born: Jimi Hendrix, Werner Herzog, Giorgio Moroder, Stanley Kubrick, Andy Warhol, some of the greatest artists of our generation.
During the crisis.
During the last crisis.
Okay.
So like that was 1929, 1942. That basically during the Great Depression. And from our generation, because we're born from a crisis, that means that we're going to be the next artists.
But we're born from a crisis?
Yeah, we're in a crisis.
Well, we were kind of born before.
Well, the people who are... So Gen Z is the
Are
crisis.
we Gen Z?
Yeah, we're Gen Z.
We're Gen Z.
Gen Z is 1995 to 2010.
Damn, okay.
Yeah.
So we're not different. Fucking 90s, baby.
Yeah, so from our generation is going to be the next Jimi Hendrix, the next Giorgio Moroder, the next Andy Warhol. And I feel like that's why a lot of people in our generation in general just don't feel comfortable staying in jobs. Like I feel like it's just so unnatural to who we are as a generation. Like the core of our generation, I think, is just manifesting individual identity.
Hey man, like I've said it since I was small. Like I don't think I could stay in the same place for years on end, do the same thing for years. It's like, oh, like I did this shit for 25 years. Absolutely not. I feel like I would not survive doing that.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting because even now, right, that I'm like at a different stage of my life, I still am always looking for that next thing. You know what I mean? I'm still always looking for what's next. I've already made plans for the next job I have. You know what I mean? I've already spent the money that my next job will give me, and I haven't even started applying to my next job.
Right.
So I am always thinking forward, but sometimes it's hard to stay rooted in reality.
I mean, do you even want to do engineering for the rest of your life?
No, I mean, I've said this forever. Everyone always laughs because it's like a running theme in my own life where someone will ask me like, oh, like, what are your 10, 15-year plans? And it never has to do with engineering. And everybody's like, what the fuck? But like it's corny. It's corny as fuck. But one thing I do actually live by, which is going to sound corny. Okay. I'm prefacing this with it sounds corny. But
Cringe alert.
yes, but you know that Kanye West line where he's like, "Reach for the stars, so if you fall, you land on the clouds." So my clouds are engineering, like having like just living and dying in engineering. Okay, my stars is like I'm in entertainment. I'm a talk show host, late night. I'm like a Conan, except better.
Right.
Like that is my stars. That is breakout in the entertainment
So if
industry.
you hit the clouds, do you think you'll be satisfied?
I've hit the clouds. I mean, I'm
He's
an
in the
engineer.
clouds.
I'm in the clouds now.
I
So
think,
that's
I
the
think
thing.
you're still too young to say that you're in the clouds because the clouds would
I don't know.
that would imply that you tried and didn't make it.
No. I mean, like I'm trying now.
You can still bounce off the clouds.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm not saying like I'm stuck at the clouds, but I'm saying like I'm shooting for the stars. But if I stay at the clouds for the rest of my life, I won't have complaints. I'll have complaints if I had tried and not like I'll have like the very thing that's always said. It's like what's it called? Fuck, I forgot what I was gonna say. It's like I can't regret it if I didn't try it, right? 20 years from now, I don't want to sit here and be like, damn, what if I had started a podcast? Like, what? I'd rather have tried and failed. That's the saying. I'd rather have tried and failed than to have never tried at all. And it's corny. Again, all these things are always gonna sound corny, but it's real. I don't want to. It's even like shooting your shot with a girl, right? You like a girl, you tell her like. I mean, listen, I have a story too, but
yeah.
I don't want to like. But it really is. It's just like shooting your shot with a woman you might like. The same thing with a career. All these relationships are the same. The relationship you have your career, it could be a relationship you have with a friend. It could be a relationship you have with a woman. Doesn't matter. A relationship, like trying, and I'd rather try and get rejected and not live with that thought in my head. Like, what if I had never said anything? What if me and this person would have worked out for the rest of my life? What if? I don't want to be 65 and tell my fucking grandkids like, damn, if I had really stayed with that girl I met when I was 13 years old, maybe my life would have been like, no, fuck that. I don't want to think about that. I don't want to think that way. So
And
right
you're
now,
like saying like fuck your grandkids at that point.
Nah, I
You're
mean,
like,
yeah,
yeah, man, you wouldn't be here.
fuck them. I'm not jacking my grandkids already, but it's just a thought I've had in my head where everyone, it's a very common theme in my life where someone will ask me, even like my parents, they'll be like, oh, so like, where do you see yourself in 10 years? It never has to do with engineering. I don't think I'm going to be an engineer from here until I die. My goal is if by 30 I'm comfortable enough and my parents are okay enough to just be chilling, I'm going to retire. And then just go try to be in entertainment. Like no matter what, like
Retire from engineering.
retire from engineering.
Okay,
I'm going to
yeah.
retire from engineering and
I was like, Mom, give me
yeah,
that plan.
Yeah. No, I'm gonna like save a lot of money. But plans change. So I'm sitting here and telling you this now. 10 years from now, what if I have kids? What if I'm married? Plans change. Of course, there is some sacrifice with some things, but yeah, I don't plan to be an engineer for the next. I don't even plan to be an engineer for the next 10 years of my life, realistically. But it's something. It's a means to an end. You know what I mean? I've thought about it a lot. Listen, it was a hard decision for me to like continue being an engineer and even like decide to actually be an engineer. It was a very hard decision. There was a conversation I had with my mother when I was like a sophomore in college. I think I've said this on the podcast. Maybe, I don't know. Kevin might know. Whatever.
23
We
episodes,
were driving. I think I was taking her like a dentist appointment or something, and she was like, "Oh, do you like engineering?" And I was like, "No, I hate this shit." I only stuck with it because when I told you I wanted to switch majors and go to the school that was closer, you told me, you like cursed me out and told me that's a terrible idea.
Yeah, that was gonna be my next question to you. Like, if you had told your parents that you were, let's like put a hypothetical out there. If you had told your parents that you were going to drop out of college to do content creation, how do you think they would have reacted?
I think that my parents would have beat my ass. I think they wouldn't have let me live here. That's I
got the good ending.
I mean, not the genuine. It's not so much. I don't think my parents would kick me out. That's a bit of an exaggeration. But there would have to be something there for me to drop out. Like they would have to see money. They would have to see something coming in for them to be satisfied with me leaving college. I don't think if I had told my parents when I was like 18 years old, like, oh, I'm not gonna pursue a degree, just because we don't, at least for myself, right? And I don't want to speak for you guys, but, come from immigrant parents. I'm an immigrant myself. I'm undocumented. I don't have the luxury of being like, yeah, let me just go fuck around for 4 years and find out what happened. Because realistically, it's not like after those 4, and right now, like, I have DACA. I have access to things that would even allow me to go to college. So who the fuck knows if those things would still be around 4 years from now if this shit fell in its face and I was like, fuck, I want to go to college now. And maybe DACA's gone. Maybe HISA's gone. Maybe I can't go to college. Maybe I'm too far removed from high school. Maybe I have to redo things. So,
that's interesting because like your dad at one point was an artist, right? Like a musician.
Oh yeah, my dad was in a Uruguayan rock band. Actually, yeah, he used to be a little rock star. But that's the thing I tell them.
So you don't think he would be sympathetic to your you wanting to pursue like entertainment?
I think they're sympathetic of the idea, but they wouldn't be sympathetic of the action.
Yeah, that's the same way my mom is, because she's still a singer.
What do you think drives that? Do you think it's like fear?
It's fear. It's survivability. It's they've had to sacrifice and do so much from then until now that in a perfect
it's too much
way.
of a gamble.
Dude, I remember. So like my sister has kids, right? My parents are grandparents. Right. They're young. They're like in their 50s. My mom's not even 50 yet, but my dad's in his early 50s. And one day, like, my dad's very like, not hyper, but he's like, oh my God, don't let the baby do this, do that, do that. Like, he's very like protective of my little nephew and niece, right? This was just when they had a nephew. And then one day, like it had been a day like that where he was just like being protective of shit, and like he was just laying in bed, and I go up to him, I was like, this is the dude that used to be a rock star? Like, this is the dude that used to be a rock star? He started crying. Like, my dad like literally started crying, and I didn't realize how much like of an impact my words had. But like I told him, I was like, this is the same motherfucker. Like, you used to be a rock star, dog, and you like worry that your nephew's gonna like eat some shit. Like, calm down. And he started literally crying. And I know those fears and that idea never dies, dude. When my dad was like even earlier, probably not even 50 yet. Nah, I'm lying. He was probably 50 actually. But I was in college and he was auditioning for a band. So he, and he knows I make music and I know how to mix and master. So he like comes to me, he's like Carlos, like, don't laugh at me, but can you help me record a demo tape? And I was like, why would I ever laugh at you? And there's a video I recorded that I never posted or anything, just for myself. But it was a video of like my dad in my booth. This was back when I had like a dedicated studio space because my sister had moved out and I was just using it for like content and shit like that. I had a video of my dad like singing a song. Great singer. My dad's a great singer. Just singing a song. And the caption of that video, which I never posted, I kept to myself, was just, how do you expect me to fail when these motherfuckers are the people I'm around? Like, how do you expect me to not be a creative when these are the motherfuckers that I'm seeing every day? And that's what I used to tell my parents. I'm like, you guys have always told me, it's that conversation you have with your parents when you're younger and you talk back to an adult, right? They're like, you shouldn't have talked back. But I'm like, my whole life you've told me not to shut the fuck up. You've told me to speak out against shit that's wrong. And when I do it, you're like, slap on the wrist, slap on the wrist, slap on the wrist. But I'm living by your example. You guys are great fucking people. Like, you guys are just good people, and I live by your example. You should be proud. Like, you should be even prouder that your kids are the way they are.
It's really interesting because, like, your dad was in a rock band. Your parents, they still do music, right? Mm-hmm. And my dad, when he was my age, was just DJing. It's like we all kind of came from like musicians.
Yeah,
I think that definitely has like a part in why we all want to just pursue entertainment or art or creation in general.
But that's the thing, right? I want to be this way, but I don't think my sister thinks about that. I don't think my sister does. And we're the same.
But your sister was like the first child.
Yeah. She was first.
That's a lot of pressure.
It's a lot more. She definitely. I wish my sister got the same opportunities. Like, I wish. I would love to see. And she's still, listen. My sister is a smart woman. Like, she's really smart, really like successful in her career. Great mother, great wife, great sister, great daughter, great person. To from here until forever. That's my person. That's a person that I know is always there. But I wish she got some of the same opportunities. I wish she got the leniency that I got with some of the fuck-ups I've had in my life. I've always been a great student. Like, school and academics have never been a problem, but I was a shitty kid. I was like, Miguel was making a joke. You guys don't see it, but on my wall, there's like pictures of me just
Juan
being...
doesn't have a single picture as a child where he's smiling except at fucking...
Listen, I was a grumpy little... I was a little shithead at home. I was really, like, I had a really... Not a bad relationship with my parents. I was just a shithead. Like, I would make my parents scream a lot. I would get into arguments with my parents.
You are my birth control.
Yeah. Like, as a younger kid, I was definitely like a shithead. I will admit this. I was not a good kid at home. I was great at school. I was great in the public. Like, teachers would tell my parents, like, oh, he's great. And they'd be like, oh, what the fuck? Like, he's an asshole. Like, not they wouldn't say that about me, but They would just be like, oh, and when I would get in trouble at home, my parents would like record me. Not all the time, but this happened. I just remember like you only remember the bad shit really sometimes, right?
Yeah.
So there was a time where like I was misbehaving like crazy and I was like crying like really hard. And my mom was recording me. She was like, oh, I'm gonna send this to all your teachers, all the teachers that think you're such a good kid. And I was like, damn, bro, like that shit hurt me more than anything you could do to me. So
I feel like the teachers would have been like, "Why are you recording your kid?"
Yeah, I
He's
don't
having
know.
a tantrum.
I mean,
man.
it's not like they were actually going to show it to them, but it's more so just like the scare
Like
tactic.
intimidation thing,
Yeah,
yeah,
like
yeah.
stop acting like this. Like people are going to see you act like this. But it's hard, man. It's hard to balance it. I know so many people that are so talented that haven't been able to touch on it because of just the circumstances of life. Whether it's being a firstborn, whether it's, just being who they are. But you can sit there and be like, fuck, I can't be an artist. Or you could sit there and be like, damn, I'm an academic. I have a career now.
Yeah.
I have these things that not even my parents had. And yeah, well, I wasn't able to fully pursue it. I've said this on the podcast. Sorry, I'm rambling. But I've said this on the podcast, and it's something I genuinely believe. The people who will see the biggest fruits of labor of my parents' labor isn't me. It's going to be their grandkids. It's going to be my sister's kids. It's going to be my kids. That third generation, and I say this all the time with podcasts, but the closer you get to the American dream, the further you get away from your culture. And, you lose the language, you lose certain things you eat, you lose the people you hang around. But even being able to complain that I can't follow my creativity while still being an engineer, while still having a career, I feel there's luxury in that. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I don't know. But how do you feel, your parents feel about your entertainment endeavors?
I mean, I don't know. Like, I feel like I explained this back in like episode 1, so it's been a while. We could just go back to it. But yeah, it was a shit show to be like, yo, to leave Boston, because I was like, yo, it's stupid expensive. I refuse to take out a fucking loan to go to fucking school. I'm not doing it. I'm just gonna transfer back home. And you know what? They literally got the same shit. Like, we're just gonna rock it there. So at that, they were already like iffy, because they were like, oh, BU has a bigger name than like NJIT, so like why not stay there?
NJIT got a big name though. NJIT.
That's what I was saying. I
holds
was
it
like, yo,
down.
NJIT, they be holding it down, bro. People like it's slept on. But from there, when I was just like, yo, like I'm literally sitting in a classroom talking about fucking playwriting. Like, I don't want to do this right now.
But
like,
your
what?
mom still does the singing.
Yes, but like the thing is that the same way like they respected the dream, they
Yeah.
didn't want
Of course.
it to like take place. But like the difference is I was like, look, I have a fucking job.
Yeah.
I've been making money, so let me go through with this.
Right.
And then like, well, now I'm like video editing, but I'm at the point where I'm just like, I feel like I can be making more.
Yeah,
so,
of course.
Like I'm looking for something, just to, I guess, I don't know what the word is, but just like to evolve in my career, just
Yeah.
like, because like staying in one place, it hasn't worked out. I've tried it. I'm still there. I'm still gonna be there, because I'm not just gonna like fuck this job. I'm gonna just look for one for the next 6 months. That doesn't make sense. I'm not leaving until I have something secure.
Mm-hmm.
But it's gotten to the point where like, I need to further down my career if this is what I want to pursue for the next
Mhm.
foreseeable future. And at this point, they're less like, he doesn't know what the fuck he's doing. He's just a stupid kid. It's more like, okay, we have confidence in like what you're doing, but at least like communicate it to us first. Like, which is what I do. I'll be like, hey, like, how do you feel about this? Just to get your perspective. I might not listen at all, but I need to know like, how do you feel about this situation? How do you feel about me going through this like process of trying to find a different job in this specific field? While
Originally,
also,
you were going to be an engineer.
yes.
What was like the flip for you where you were like, I'm not doing this for the rest of my life?
I took an engineering like
They got you with the weed out classes, bro. They fucking dicked
no,
you, bro.
it was before college. It was actually senior year of high school when there was for those that know the ACE mentorship program. That shit was boring as fuck, bro. And I was like, this is it? And then that's when I learned that technicians are frowned upon. Like, not frowned upon, but like, that's not what you do. Engineers do the blueprints and shit. They're not the ones that put things together.
Right. They're
And
the
that was
designers.
eye-opening to me. I was like, what do you mean? Like, this whole thing is like about building stuff.
Do you work with machinists?
Hmm?
You do.
Yeah.
Like you are you like, do you talk to them?
Yeah.
Or like, oh wow, okay.
Yeah, I'd be like,
That's
yo, it's
fire.
good.
Do you respect their part of the job?
Yeah. Dude, every...
Or is there like a thing where like I'm the engineer?
No. Not even close to that. Like,
Okay.
they know more than me, so... the fuck? Like, I usually just tell them like, hey, like this is bad, and then they'll know how to fix it. So I don't even know. I just like, yo, this is not good. They're like, okay,
it's not working.
Yeah.
That's what I was like. Oh, the technician sounds, but then literally every single, like, it happened to be you. Every single engineer I talked to was like,
But-
why do you want to like sync to that level? Why do you want to do that? Engineering should be X, Y, Z. And I was like, wow, this is all dog shit.
Well,
I don't want to do this anymore.
Engineering is more. I think engineering is more office work.
No,
No.
it just depends really what you do. Like, there's so many.
I mean,
different
every
types of
engineer that I know works in an office.
Well, yeah, you work in an office, but you see the fruits of it. Like, what I think you would want to see are like the fruits of your labor, right? You want to see something being put together, even that.
But not because I designed it. I just wanted to be the one that put it together.
But if you're like a bridge engineer, you're not going to put together a bridge. You know what I mean? Like, you're not going to be the one there putting together the bridge, but you're going to go to the bridge and see how your work is impacting the bridge. If I'm a mechanical engineer and I'm designing a piece, I might not be on the machine. Bro, machinists don't even do it. It's a machine. Like, you want to sit there and touch the press button to fucking push the machine.
There are some things
yes,
they do.
of course.
Like,
I'm not
they
shitting.
weld. They.
I'm not shitting on that, but what I'm saying is
like,
you still have a direct impact. Whilst you might not be, like, we don't even put together parts where I work. Like, we send them off and they do whatever they want with the parts. That's on them. But you still have a role, and I think it's even a way to live your life, right? I'm gonna make this a whole metaphor. You might not always be hands on in your own life. Sometimes other shit might take the wheel, but you can influence it enough where things might go your way. So try to influence it enough where things do go your way.
Man,
well, that's my thing. Like, because that was the direction of engineering, at least for the stuff that interested me. I was like, this is not like what I want to do. Well, that's why I took up coding. I tried that. I still like it. I'm working with coding now, even after being 3-4 years removed. Like, I still retain that information. Then I was like, you know what? Fuck it. After talking with my sister, who like is in her. Well, at the time she was like she just turned 30, and I was like. She was basically like somebody that I not ran to, but like, yo, your dad is fucking tripping, bro. Like, please tell him to relax. Like, I got a 99%. He's fucking punishing me because I didn't get a 100%. Like,
how was it different for you, Miguel? Like, cause was college even an idea? Because
college was I wanted to go to college so bad, but like because of some stuff that I'm not even gonna talk about.
Yeah.
I couldn't go. But for me, I
was
could
it ever
never,
a conversation with your parents though, like that you didn't want to pursue it, or you were just
no?
like,
I wanted to go to college.
but like, was it ever a conversation when you decided ultimately not to?
No, I basically it wasn't even like a decision, man. It was out of my hands.
Yeah.
It was out of my hands. So like, it's not like I said I wanted to go, but like it was out of my hands, so I couldn't. But I always knew that I didn't want to do office work because before I wanted to. I mean, I still kind of do, but I wanted to like build houses. And I wanted to like invest in real estate, and I still kind of do. I guess my bigger dream now is to be an artist, but like office work sucks. Like I just can't imagine sitting at a cubicle for my whole life, dude. It sounds so like depressing. And I'm sorry.
I don't work in a cubicle.
Okay, but like, and I wrote down here, because like there is something about office work that makes it like serve as a good metaphor for the meaningless ritual of the human condition. Like it just feels so like out of place and out of touch as a like bro, we're not built for that.
Yeah.
Like even if you're scientific about it, like bro, we're not built for that. We're not built to sit in a chair all day just like at a computer doing nothing, and not doing nothing because it's still work. But I feel like it's so unnatural, at least for me, to just do that.
Yeah, I mean, I listen at work. I have a lot of time to just think, and I just be like.
They don't
Thinking
even give you
about the
headphones.
podcast.
And like you have time to think, and you're thinking about not
should I
being
enjoy?
there.
Yeah,
Yeah, you're just thinking about not being there. You're using all your free time, and that's something else about like my job now is like I get the most motivated and like the most like most of my ideas at work. When I'm sitting there, I'm like, I don't want to do this for the rest of my life. Let me just start writing stuff down. Like let me figure out how I'm gonna get out of here.
After coming back from those 3-day weekend breaks, 4-day weekend breaks, it's like I don't feel refreshed. I'm just like, wow. What is the next step to get out of here?
Right, like that. It kind of like just puts in your head like you don't want to do this. That's it. It's like,
and it's not because like people are so quick to put that as you don't want to like you're lazy. You don't want to do work. You just want to sit at home. It's not that I don't want to do work. It's like I don't want to do this work. I want to do something that I'm actually interested in or with like something that I can mold for myself and be proud of. This is somebody else's work. I'm filling up somebody else's like dream right now, not my own.
You know what's been making me happier? recently, like in recent times, like I've been listening to a lot of Spanish music.
Tapping into that culture.
It's funny. Like it's funny, but really, even while I'm at work, like driving to work, I listen to Spanish music, driving home, and it's like there's so much warmth in your own culture that I can live with the mundaneness of life sometimes. I know it's like it sounds like it's such an exaggeration, but sometimes I'm just like, damn, like everything I am, everything that stemmed from me, all comes from somewhere, and that is a part of me as much as I am a part of it. And maybe that makes no sense to people listening to it.
No, can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
I'm sorry to cut you off.
No, go ahead.
Does your sister and her husband, do they speak Spanish at
Yeah.
home?
They only speak Spanish to my babies, to my
their
babies.
To your babies.
My babies too.
Yeah, I was gonna ask that because like I also read somewhere, it was like an article where it was saying that like 90% of like previous culture is like eradicated by the third generation that lives in the United States.
That's usually how it
because
goes.
they don't speak Spanish, like because it's also like just out of convenience. Like why would I have to, like we all speak English?
Yeah.
I
So
forgot.
like,
Sorry.
like do you think like if you and Sophia would have a kid, do you think that you're gonna
Absolutely.
speak
Because
Spanish?
yeah, absolutely.
Sophia
I'm
doesn't
not.
speak Spanish though.
She doesn't, but I'm not
Oh.
gonna develop that fucking accent. Because if I let my parents talk to them in English, holy fuck, I'm gonna lose my mind at home. But the thing is, like, I forgot who told me. I don't know if it was like a story that came from my parents or a story that came from like somewhere, from a friend. But like, even in my family, I see it like with each additional generation, they speak less and less Spanish. So we're at the point where like the grandkids don't communicate with the grandparents because they can't communicate.
Yeah,
One
there's
speaks
a
Spanish,
divide.
one only speaks English.
I
I was like,
remember,
how do you let that happen?
I think the person you're probably thinking about is Opoku, because I remember Opoku, he said, I don't know if it was on the podcast or like it was in a conversation. He said that at one point, and I don't know if he still feels this way, but he was like, he feels like he has to marry a woman from Ghana, because he was like, that's like the mission, like to keep like the culture
'cause
intact.
I would hate to be the grandfather, and then I can't speak to none of my kids. Well, obviously like
You speak English.
English, right?
Yeah.
But taking it from my dad's perspective, like I have kids and then they're only gonna speak to him in English. He's gonna hate that shit. Or like same thing with my mom. She's just gonna be like doing gestures, and then the next generation after that,
the next generation don't gotta speak Spanish. Like that's fine. Like after my sister's kids, like if they have kids, like they don't gotta speak Spanish. Like that's cool. Like the Spanish speaking is done. You know what I mean? It sounds like shit.
So let's say fast forward into the future and you have grandkids. You'll be alright with your grandkids like not being tapped in with the culture.
because like
They're gonna
that's
be
not
so
the
far
language I'm
removed,
used
like,
to.
they're gonna be fully American by that point. Because my kids are gonna be fully American at that point too. Like they're gonna speak. My kids are gonna speak Spanish,
I'm
but
fully American.
like my kids are gonna speak Spanish, but they're gonna speak less Spanish than me, and I already speak less Spanish than my parents. So it's just like do. But at a certain point, it's the culture is gonna end up disappearing, and it sucks. It sucks, but I'm not gonna be alive at that point. So
Man, I don't know. There's something about that kind of makes me sad.
I mean, it makes me sad. Don't get me wrong. If in an ideal world, I speak Spanish to my kids speak Spanish to their kids. We have a bunch of bilinguals.
You ever thought about doing an HMO podcast and like just Spanish?
I've said it to Kevin
Holy
before.
fuck! I'd be like, como.
We just lose all our audience.
And then you start speaking Spanglish, like just putting in like English words in there.
The majority of our audience wouldn't watch, and it's not like I
Maybe
care
you'll
about.
tap into a new audience.
Yeah,
You
but
ever
then
thought about that?
they're
Like,
gonna.
you might just go like viral. On,
Holy
like,
fuck!
Spanish
Then I won't
TikTok.
be able to read any of the comments.
but you can't read
Yeah, you
Spanish.
were getting
No, I
cooked.
can read. I can
Yo,
read.
you guys were
Spanish.
getting cooked.
I
on
was
that
getting
last.
cooked in a language I had no idea, but I knew.
It was bad.
I knew it was bad because I read American. I was like, oh shit, I'm getting shit on right
Bro,
now.
I don't know. People like
And
go.
it was crazy because like I remember on the Instagram reels, you guys were getting cooked, and I was like, "What the fuck, man!" Like
And then
these
you
guys
saw
are
the TikTok.
And then I saw TikTok, and I was like, "Dude, this is another level." Like this is.
I've tapped into the hatred of
Yo,
everybody.
you
though.
pissed some people off, man.
I
Like,
think, hear me out. The metric system is so much better than any other system you fuckboys use in the other world.
Nah, dude, I understood what Kevin was saying last
I
time.
did
on
too.
That. Like he was saying, like 100 degrees Fahrenheit feels a lot more hot, you know, than
Than
like
being like, damn, it's really 18.5 outside. Or like, damn, it's really 25.3. Holy shit, 26.7?
right.
Let's
It's-
go back
it's
inside. Like,
100
what?
feels
They
like-
don't use the points though.
No, but like 100 feels like a more impactful number, you know.
I mean
And I
Fahrenheit
get it.
was
It's
invented
because,
first.
and I get it. It's because like we're used to it, but it just feels more impactful because it's like 100. It's
Yeah.
3 digits.
Yeah, and like I was telling Juan, I don't know if you saw it, but like, it was somebody like, It was actually multiple people. It was like, oh, the fucking Americans, like, it was like shit, and it was like, bro, they call the curb the sidewalk because they need to be told that they need to walk on the side or something. It was like, so this motherfucker probably thinks that like because it's 100, he need big number to be happy, and I was like, absolutely,
Damn,
big number makes me happy.
That shit
No, but
really
like-
hurt you because you memorized the whole comment.
Nah,
But like, look, I'm not saying that Fahrenheit is better than Celsius. I'm saying I understood where you were coming
That's
from.
what I'm saying.
Like 0 degrees Fahrenheit, it just sounds colder than. I don't know. It sounds cold,
Like,
man. Like it just sounds cold. 0.
yeah.
Yeah, but listen, I'm not gonna get into this.
Because 0 degrees Fahrenheit is what 32 degrees Celsius, right?
No.
No,
No,
backwards,
it's backwards. Like, 32 degrees Fahrenheit is 0 degrees Celsius. So
it's
like,
32 right now. We're chilling.
right, exactly.
Like water freezes.
Right, 0 degrees Celsius, not that cold. 0 degrees Fahrenheit,
But
that's
like,
freezing, man.
but like,
That's really,
no,
really
like the
cold.
argument that like people that the argument that people were having was like, oh, Celsius is so easy. 0 water freezes, 100 water boils, and I was like, what the fuck that got to do with me? I can't go outside past 30. I'll die.
And I think somebody clapped back at you on that because they were like you're 70% water. So what does
Yeah,
that
but I
mean
was
for
like,
you?
do I? So that means when it hits 0 Celsius, I should just die because I freeze to death. Like you just like instantly like you immediately freeze outside. Like people had like, and the fact that people like, well, we talked about it last time, but
we're gonna milk this one.
yo,
I'm already
bro,
over it. I'm already
I
over
told you I was over it because like holy shit, bro,
over
people
it.
just kept going. But the thing is, hey, how can we not talk about it when we hit 500,000 fucking
Oh, right.
Europeans on it?
Last podcast, we were at 100,000 views. Now we're at 500,000.
500K views, 500,000 people that want to see me dead, bro.
There are some countries with 500,000 people in them. So you
Yeah.
pissed off a whole country, really.
Right. Okay.
Fair. Probably pissed off like Nepal or some shit.
I don't know how it got to some of the audience because they were speaking another language. So like,
Right. Yeah. If they understood the English, why did they type it out in like whatever language?
right,
they're
like, bro,
speaking?
cook me. I want to know what you said. I'm not going to the trouble
wanna
of
put it-
translating.
right,
it.
exactly.
They just have captions probably. But just to stem away from the Fahrenheit and Celsius talk, but stay within the same realm. People are so mean on the internet.
They
People
are.
are just
so
extra
weird.
mean. Hear me out. Stop recording random people and posting it on Twitter. Like that's not cool. Like when did that become okay?
Yeah.
Oh
that is
yeah,
really
like
weird.
that's so fucking stupid. Like literally somebody like living, like literally just chilling, doing, fucking eating an ice cream, and everybody will just hop on. Like, damn, bro, why do you do it like that? Why they holding their hand out like that? Like that
It's
shit
just-
is so fucking weird.
It just comes from me. Like it's just mean spirited. Like there's nothing nice that comes from it, and people do it. And like I grew up being told like if you got nothing nice to say, don't say anything at all. Of course I'm a hater. I hate on shit on the internet all the time. But I hate in silence. I'm not over here commenting on their shit like
I've never
you're a
hated
bitch.
so hard where I whipped out the keyboard. To
Never,
start typing
never in my
something.
life, never in my
Absolutely
life.
not. It's never gotten so bad that I left a dislike. Never
Never in my life have I disliked something.
Wait, hold up. I've disliked some videos.
No, I've never disliked
Oh,
the video
no.
in my
Yeah,
life.
no,
I've never,
disliked some
but
videos.
the same way I don't go through the trouble of liking a video either.
But it's not
Yeah,
like
I've never
well,
liked
I
the
like
video.
videos out of convenience, so I
Yeah.
can find
Oh,
the
yeah.
video.
like
later.
like if okay, yeah, but like
but
if
like
I'm told,
but like it'd have to be like something really stupid for me to like want to dislike it. Like it'd have to be something that
to
really pisses
dislike
me
it
off.
and then to comment something crazy.
Oh
bro.
yeah, I don't comment though.
But like we're doing it on a scale where it's like we're being seen by a lot of people in a public eye, so a lot of people are gonna have a comment. But this happens even on a smaller scale, like between just kids like being fucking mean to each other. And in my head, I'm like, oh, it's whatever because none of these people know me. Imagine it's a bunch of your peers saying that type of shit. You're like, damn.
Kind of going off on a tangent. I was just thinking about this the other day. You know, like you ever looked at kids and you're just like, there's nothing really going on in their lives, like a 10-year-old.
I never look
or
at
not-
kids.
But I'm saying like kids in general. Like we just kind
In
of look at them.
what
You're like,
way?
there's nothing really going on in their lives. Like you just like from your perspective, it's like they're just like a dumb kid.
Yeah.
But like when you were that age, there were probably a lot of things that were going on like socially for you.
I just wish.
True.
Like,
I wasn't,
for
I wasn't
example,
the
like-
fastest.
Like when you were like 10, 11 years old, right? There like in like fourth grade, fifth grade, sixth grade, there were probably like kids that were already talking about dating or talking about like having crushes and stuff like that. And it's just like there's a lot of like social there's like a social hierarchy there, kind of.
Yeah.
And they're 10 years old, bro.
And you're just a little loser that's never kissed a girl at 10 years old.
True.
Nah, bro, why are you talking to me like that?
No, not you, but like, I just meant you. in the
That's
general
not the
sense.
targeted, bro.
No, no,
Right,
no,
it is
no.
targeted.
I didn't kiss a girl till I was like 14. So
I feel like that's normal.
yeah, that's a normal age to kiss a
Yeah,
girl.
That's normal.
I didn't get into a relationship until I was like 15, which is also like I feel like a
that's
normal-ish
pretty
age.
But there were like people who were like in my class that were like 11, bro.
Yeah, they
Talking
should
about
be
some. Like,
Talking about
dating
something
and
we're
shit.
gonna be together for the rest of our lives. Like,
I think me and this girl like fake
you've
dated
been sentient
for a
for
couple.
3 years, bro. Like,
Right.
relax.
Yeah, hear me out. Relationships under the age of 18 don't count.
I don't
I'm
know about
sorry.
that one. I don't know if I can follow
Nah,
you.
they-
18,
they
no.
don't.
What the fuck? I
Under
was-
the age of 18, they don't count.
Bro, so wait, so his relationship doesn't count?
But they stayed
My shit don't
together. They
exist.
stayed together.
But,
Like,
so it was
so-
only
so
valid
we-
from 18 on?
yes,
What?
that's
What
when you guys
changed?
actually started dating.
Yeah, what changed?
The age.
Oh my god.
This guy.
But it's listen. When you're that
There's
young,
no argument for that for us after that because we can't be like, oh, age is just a number. That's a trap, bro.
listen. But when you're younger, it's not a real relationship because first of all, you don't have your own. Not that money revolves around relationship, but you can't do actual shit.
You could say that. You could put barriers on anything though. Like you could say that, and you know, I'm not saying anything about your relationship, but you could say like, oh, Kevin's relationship is not real because they don't live together.
It's true. hey, you're spitting right now, my brother. You're
But I'm saying like you
People
could
out there
keep
like,
putting
true.
barriers.
I mean,
You know?
like their relationship's not real because they're not even married yet. Like,
Oh my god. Here you go.
Hey, we're not gonna get into that because
No.
Kevin has something to say
We're,
about that.
we're gonna wait. We're gonna wait for the Sophia episode before
Yeah.
I start going
Listen,
crazy.
Yo,
Yo,
Kevin
bro.
went on a rant on
they
that
be,
Discord,
Hispanic
bro.
people be spitting, bro. Like, is the relationship even real if you're not married? And
Yeah,
living
but you're
together and
spitting
have
on
two
me,
kids?
bro. Relax.
No, I'm joking. But no, I think when you're younger, I don't know. Especially like very, very young, people be like dating. But y'all not even kissing,
You know
bro.
what? Kid
Might as well start
dynamics are
kissing.
so funny. Like, not funny, but like just eye opening now because you realize how fucking mean kids are, and it's like. I don't know if it's because of like social media or like where they get it from, but it's like these ideas of like being mean is cool or like being mean is okay to do with your friends.
Right, yeah.
Like there was a lot of shit like growing up when you were like, oh shit, if my friends aren't flaming me, like I don't want it. That's not a real relationship. Like what? Like that's not a real friendship.
Yeah.
Like what do you fucking like? Why do you want pain? Like why do you
want people to be
seek
mean
pain?
to you.
Yeah, like
But
that doesn't make sense.
It's even transition.
Well, I don't know. In our Discord, I feel like we do flame each other.
But the thing is, it's not like
24/7.
if it didn't. No, it's not even that. It's not something like, damn, bro, you're not like, fuck. Are you okay? Like you haven't like really flamed me in like the past week. Like what's really going on? Like it's not something I'm seeking. Like it happens. It's banter between like friends, but it's not something that like it's
Your
something that
relationship
people
doesn't
look
revolve
for.
around
Yeah,
it,
it's something
yeah.
that's like oh like. It's like, oh, I'm just fucking around with you. Like I'm just being like an asshole because like you know I love you. Like what the fuck? Don't fucking talk to me ever fucking again, bro.
when you
Like,
guys were growing up, when you guys were kids in elementary school, where was there like a thing where like you had like two people who had crushes on each other and everybody tried to like force them to kiss and shit like that?
Yeah, I remember one time there was this girl that had a crush on me when I was younger, right? And I was like, what?
man. No, I'm saying go ahead.
Oh no, she had a crush on me, but me and her like fake date, like that. That's what I say. I'm saying dated because
You
like
passed her notes and shit.
no, we said like we were together, like not to other people,
man
like just
gave her a cookie.
yeah, bro. We were like 9, whatever, and then fast forward, we're like 12, and her friend comes up to me in like the playground. She's like, oh, how do you feel about so and so? And I'm like, they're cool, like we're friends. They're like, oh, like would you ever go back to an ex? And I'm like. We were like 7 years old. Like, what do you mean go back to an ex?
Even at 12, you were like, bro, what? That
Yeah,
wasn't a real
and the other
relationship.
person was literally like, let's say me and you are talking, and
Yeah.
like you're the one telling me that this girl has a crush on me, and the other person's like over there, like
Oh right.
like right there, and I'm
Right,
like
10 feet away.
yeah, I was like, oh, like yeah, I wouldn't have a problem getting back with the next, and then you just see them run around and go over there and be like, oh, you heard that he doesn't have a problem going with the next. The worst thing that happened to me actually, listen, I didn't get a lot of female attention growing up. In those ages, I'm an asshole. But there was this one time, this girl messaged me on Facebook. Right, this girl.
How old? Wait, hold on. Can you paint me a picture? How old were you here?
I was like 13, like 12. I was
Okay.
I was like in 7th grade. I probably started hitting growth spurt. Like I started getting a little more handsome or whatever. This is so funny. She messaged me on Facebook. Right, she was like, hey Juan, I think you're really, really like. She was like, I think you're so cute or whatever. I still follow this girl. Like me and her, like I know her,
Right.
not like personally, but we went to middle school. I follow her. So I'm not gonna say her name. She was like, she messaged me like, oh, you're so fucking cute, like this, and that, there. I was like, all right, okay. So I messaged her back. I was like, thanks. Like I just said thank you. Like I said thanks. Clearly, like that's a dub. Like if I don't say like you're cute too, like I just said thanks. Like she messaged me back like 3 hours later, like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. That was my best friend's little sister that messaged you. That wasn't me. I'm so sorry. Like I didn't mean
My
to
cat
message
really
you.
ran across my keyboard, bro. I'm so sorry. I don't know how that came.
Bro, the next day at
Yo, that
school
was
was
one of
so
those ways
awkward.
to like try to come back from like the Riz not working and be like, oh my friend typed that. That wasn't me.
It was so awkward. The next day, like I saw her at school and like she tried to like say something to me, and I was like, okay.
Hey, bro, you made her turn her kick picture black,
Dude.
the little dot.
I wasn't even thinking it was Facebook. Actually, I wish I still had Facebook so I could show you. Like this really happened. Then who was it? Who else? There was someone else who messaged me on Facebook one time that I always say it and they tell me I'm lying. Fuck, I wish I knew who it was. Fuck, I wish I knew who it was. But they like had messaged me on Facebook, like trying to kick it to me. And I was still a young little buck. I was probably like, what, 12, 13? And like I dubbed them. I was like, I was scared of women, bro. Women are scary. Like, women are scary when you're younger. They really are.
Scary in what way?
I just they seem larger than life. Like, women to me, you know, like people are like, the manosphere now tells you to not put women on a pedestal. I put women on a pedestal. Like, I think women are the pinnacle of life. Life is nothing without women. And I don't mean even like literally, life is nothing without women. Without a woman, we would not be living. You know what I mean? So I have like the utmost respect and like value towards, like, I think women are very, saying valuable is like weird, but like, I don't know. I put them on a pedestal. Like I think women are important.
What was one of those things about women that like your perspective on women? What like was something that changed growing up where you was like, huh, they really like this.
You know what? Oh,
It's
a little like not controversial, but like shit. Like I was a little fucking demon.
Hornball.
Like, no.
Oh no! This isn't a horny story. Fuck.
No,
I'm sorry.
this is a horror story of like, this is like, cause growing up, bro, my whole family except for my parents were like this. Where it was like, don't raise your hand at a lady. Don't hit women. You know, I'm not a woman abuser. I'm not a woman abuser.
Man, I don't know.
Look. Okay. But then, like, I would have, like, cousins that would literally beat me. But I couldn't do anything because they were women.
But if they were tomboys, it was okay, to be honest.
If they had their hair short. Life was so simple. If they had their hair short,
No, not
short.
Like, you know, like those tomboys. Like, you used to roughhouse with the tomboys. Not like fight, but like we used to push the tomboys.
You know what?
Around.
Like, I didn't really have any tomboy, like...
Oh, no. We had tomboys in my
The
life.
thing about women that really, like, and this, I guess, like, my perspective on this changed, like, when I was, like, maybe 13, 14, where, like, actually, no, probably even later, probably when I was, like, 17, 16, was, I didn't, like, realize or come to the full realization that women also lust. Like, I just thought that men were lusting, and like women like just let you date them. I was like,
it might be the case for some people, but
right. But I was like, that was my perspective for a while, and then I was like, I kind of just came to a realization that women do like.
Oh shit, we're the same.
Yeah, we're the same.
Just
we're all
like you,
human.
for real.
Feminism spin right now.
Right.
But it's really rare. I mean, I don't know. It's probably, I'm speaking for myself, but maybe it's the same for other people who also seek relationships with women. Like, it's really hard for, like, I feel like a relationship is the best when the woman approaches you. Like, when they approach you, like, I kind of like, you bag me.
It's definitely
like,
less scary.
It's less scary because I know at least you're like interested in me. But when you like shoot your shot randomly, you don't even know if this other person is interested in you.
But
that's
the same for them though.
Yes.
Because look, you dubbed somebody on Facebook
when I was
you
like
were
13.
Right.
And I would still dub somebody. Like, if somebody like came to me like looking for a relationship that I didn't know, of course I'd be like, no. But if they try to get to know me, like, of course you get to know me. Like, why wouldn't you get to know me? There's this idea that I don't know who's more susceptible to it. But there's this idea that you can't even get to know somebody anymore. Like, everyone thinks there's an agenda. Like, they're getting to know me to date me. They're getting to know me for this. But no, and I feel that way a lot of times when like I approach somebody, like someone of the opposite sex, right? Like let's say I approach a woman and like try to talk to her initial reaction, I hate speaking for women, but at least in the ones, like the experiences I've had in my own experiences, their initial reaction is not like, oh, he's speaking to me because he wants to be my friend. Their initial reaction is like, oh, he's speaking to me because he wants to like be with me or like something like that. So like if I DM a girl on Instagram, that's probably their immediate reaction. But sometimes like someone will post something funny and I'll just slide up and be like, oh, this is funny, or
good art.
This is great. And it's not even me like flirting with them. It's literally just me appreciating what they do. And that goes the same for both. I feel like if someone DMs me, like I always take it just at face value. Like, oh, this person wants to talk to me a little bit, like get to know me. Like, that's cool as fuck. Like, yeah. I am happy you're appreciating the things I'm doing.
I used to have that same. No, I used to like. I went through like a very short phase in my life. I would say short, like a month, where I was like kind of like really pissed that like the Twitter agenda for between genders is like women are always shitting on men, like just saying like just shitting on men all the time, like saying like how like grimy we are, how dirty we are. And then I remember this was like not even that long ago because this was like maybe last year. My little sister's in high school now, right? And I remember she was going on a date with somebody, and I was like, make sure he doesn't do this. Make sure. And I was like, wait a minute, why am I saying this? It's true.
Because men ain't shit.
Right, it might be true. Maybe men aren't shit, bro. So, yeah, man. Now I'm kind of like neutral, and I'm like, you want to shit on men? Go ahead, bro. Some of that
there's
is
some
justified.
crazy. Yeah, there's some crazy ass.
Yeah, some of that is justified because there are some crazy.
And you know what? You never
dudes
know.
on there.
You actually never know. So you know what? Better
Bro,
safe than be
you don't
safe.
even know about your own friends, bro. Like once things come out and you're just like, what the hell? Like my friend was like this, and it's hard, right? When these certain things happen and you hear these things about like your own friend, right? Everyone's very quick to side with like take a side, right? But sometimes, like, of course, I will if it's something crazy, right? Like let's just say like I don't know, you have a friend and they like you find out that they like yell at their girlfriend, right? You will stop. Like I would stop talking to my friend. Like that's just something obvious, right? But like just the small like toxic things that you hear like them do, like you know what I mean? Something that is bad, but it's not as bad. Like he'll like call her ugly every so often, right? That's bad. But like I don't even know where I'm going. I don't even know where I'm going
to be
with
honest,
this. To be
you won't
honest,
know what the context is in their relationship, right? Like if somebody
Right.
says, "Oh, like."
What if they're just ugly?
Yeah, no, because couples tease each other. you
Right,
know?
right,
So
right,
like
right.
it's all within the context of their relationship. I think that and my thing is nowadays because I don't know what's happening, I just keep I just stay out of it until I see somebody's in danger or until they say something and I'm like, okay, now you made it my business.
The vibes are changing right now.
Yeah.
the way
but,
I
like,
am now, though, that I've definitely developed over the years, that I was not like this when I was younger. Like, if I find somebody cute, like I'll tell them. Like, I'll be very straight. I'll be like, "Hey, I think you're really pretty."
man, you're
The Riz training order, bro.
I'm the charisma, but I'm
the Wizard of Oz.
like if
yeah.
someone that's the thing where even if it goes to like appreciating art, like I am that way. If I see like a pretty girl and she posts a pretty selfie, like I'll message her like, "Yo, this is like you look really pretty in this."
The
or-
boy who cried.
But
river.
even like dudes, I'm not calling dudes like pretty, but like a dude posts like
You are
a
handsome young man.
no, but like he'll post like I don't know, if someone posts like their work or like them at the gym, I'll be like, "Bro, you looking big as shit, like good shit, bro." Like
gonna be like, I want to be like
Oh,
you.
yeah, I wanna be like you.
because actually it's so like, because we talked about this before. Because I remember, like as a joke, like it was something about like how you say goodnight to people, and you were like around here we kiss the homies goodnight or something like that as a joke. And Twitter went crazy, like miss me with that gay shit, or like don't do that.
Like
no-
I had like 100 dudes under that quarter two. Like we ain't doing that around here. I don't know. We don't do that where I'm from. I'm like, bro, relax. It was a joke. First of all,
I remember seeing is it Andrew Schultz? He did a
Yeah.
skit about them. He was like, I was trying to sleep in the same room as like one of my friends. He was like, yo, we should put like a pillow barrier or something between us so like we don't catch the gay. And he was like, how about you just don't fuck me? Like, it's like-
it was like,
how about like our butts will not just magically magnet together and like we'll be naked, like just don't fuck me.
It's like that shit. Have you seen like the internet? Have we talked? I don't know if we talked about it on the podcast, but like the uproar on the internet for Tom Brady, like with his relationship with his son.
Oh,
yeah, man, that
Dude,
is weird.
they're
the
calling him like
kiss.
like
that
they're-
is weird. People are really like just mind their
That's-
business.
that's
first
so
of all,
fucking weird,
if they're
'cause-
calling him like gay or whatever, like they're saying bad shit, they should see how I interact with my father, how I interact with my uncle, who's not my father. Like we are like, at least in Hispanic culture, I won't speak for other cultures because I don't know, but Hispanic culture, like we're mad, like friendly and lovey to like the men in our lives. Like me and my dad, like I kiss my father every day, not on the lips, but I kiss my father every day.
As a child, that's like something.
Dude,
used to
I
do
hug
too.
every time I see my uncle. I give him mad kisses. I hug him. Like if they're calling Tom Brady gay for his son sitting on his lap, they should. I go and lay on my father. I go lay on top of my father on
They
his
should
bed.
see how Swan spread it, bro.
Bro, they should see like I see my uncle and my uncle's like a little bit shorter than me. Like I'll grab him, just like hold him, like give him kisses, like. But that's just like the
Yeah, man,
relationship I
that's
have
like-
with like
it's
the
just-
men in my
yeah.
life, and it's not a weird relationship. Like it's a relationship, a regular relate. Like the internet acting weird about it is fucking weird to me.
Yeah, I mean, like it's also like I don't know how American culture is because like you don't really greet people in American culture. You kind of just wave or just, like say hi, just waving. But at this point, I'm just like, you could be a white Hispanic. So I always go in for like the cheek kiss when it's like
Yeah.
a woman or like
yeah.
you know like the dap up into a hug into like whoever. It's like yo, what's good? Unless I feel super uncomfortable, and I'll just be like, they'll be like, hi.
I used to
okay,
not do
hi.
the kiss, but then one time I went to this party where I knew everybody except for one person, and like I didn't want to just say hi to everybody I knew and not the one person, so I just like waved. Like I was just like, oh hi, what's up everybody? And then it was a girl, and she like towards the end of the party, she was like, oh, you didn't even like say hi to me, and I was like, oh, like I didn't know, because like usually I would just go and give everybody like a kiss, like, oh hi, what's up? They're like, oh, you didn't even like. Juan was too scared to say hi to me, and I was like,
No, I get bored, bro. I just be like, hello everybody, goodbye everybody.
but it's different. It was like 4 people. It was like 4 people.
Oh, okay,
I could say hi to 4 people.
But like when I hear event, I just think of like when my parents take me to some fucking like performance. I'll be like, hello.
Oh no,
hello,
that's
hello.
too much.
Hello.
Like
hello,
I went
hello,
to a friend's graduation party, and it was just like a bunch of Ecuadorians, and I was like, I'm not gonna say hi to.
Oh yeah. Like
I'm not gonna
so
say hi
like
to
that
55 people that I don't know at all. You know what I mean?
They don't give a fuck about me.
But it's I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. That's what I'm saying. Like
That shit is so weird.
I hope
like,
we don't blow up though, because then like we make a video like, let's say like buying Juan's dad a house, and then in the video I'm just like kissing and hugging on my dad. They're gonna be like, damn, it's fucking gay.
It's like no, it's
I
like
just love my dad.
the like dynamic with children is like so fucking weird on social media, because like it's not even that. It'll be something as simple as like, oh, I wouldn't let my husband like wash my like baby girl or something like that.
Yeah, that's
it was
weird.
like, what the fuck? Like
Yeah,
you married
bro.
this person and had a child, and you don't know if they're gonna be fucking inappropriate with your fucking daughter. That shit makes no fucking sense, by the way.
Or even where they'll be like bro, I don't know if it's Hispanic culture again, but like we be walking around my house like underwear only sometimes. Like everyone
it's
in
just
my
something
house.
that like came like from like as like a child, and it's not like something like, holy shit, like, bro, don't fucking. I feel like that's a very Americanized thing, because you see it in TV all the time. You see it in like shows where it's like, mom, don't walk in. Like,
even
I'm
with
shirtless.
breastfeeding, like in America, I don't know. I don't want to speak for America, but in
It's
Hispanic
America,
culture, like
they just do it.
They just do it. It's
Yeah,
there's
that
no weird
actually
shit
was
around
something
it.
like when I was growing up, and that became like a controversy. Like you shouldn't do that, or like
Not
now
in public.
Yeah, in airports now. I was actually in the airport 2 weeks ago. They have like breastfeeding stations, which is like if you feel comfortable doing it in a station where like nobody can see you, that's fine.
Yeah,
But like just the like, why have we sexualized that as a society? That's kind of weird.
I don't know. It's very weird because I don't
like
think
growing
anything
up
of it.
like growing up like in a Hispanic household, it was just like they just do it,
Yeah.
bro. Like nobody's
Baby's hungry.
well, maybe I could catch a glimpse of a nipple here.
Yeah. Like I remember there was one day where
Let me see the cracks.
my sister was like pumping breast milk or whatever. She was like pumping it.
Right.
And then her friend was sitting in the room, and then I come into the room and I'm just like talking to them, and then her friend was like, oh, like I would never feel this comfortable doing this in front of my brother. And I'm like, that's my fucking sister. Like, it's not like I never see my sister topless, but it's like she's just pumping milk. Like I'm not like looking at her like what
What's
goes through
going
your
on
mind?
over there?
Like
Yeah,
what
bro,
goes
like-
through your mind where it's like this is weird. Like this is my sister. Like I
Yeah.
grew up with her. Like, and just that conversation, I was like, oh, I'm not the most comfortable with my sister, but like I don't give a fuck. Like my sister see me in boxers. Like it's not like any different. Of course, I'm not walking around my fucking dick on the floor, you know, because it'd be on the floor. But I'm not walking around with my dick on the floor, you know, I'm boxers. And I think it's been a while since like my parents had seen me in boxers, or at least my mom, because the other day I had like an ingrown hair on my leg, and I asked my mom to help me take it out, and I was in boxers. She was like, damn, I never noticed, like I have mad stretch marks all over like my ass. Like on the side of my not my ass, but like the thigh area
side,
on the
okay.
side. Okay, this is
Juan
TMI.
fat ass confirmed.
No, I have stretch marks because like I fluctuate in weight a lot.
The dumpy, bro.
I have fluctuated in weight a lot throughout the years. Like right now, I'm like, I'm the most I've weighed in forever. And she was like, "Damn, I haven't noticed you had so many stretch marks." And I was like, "Yeah."
Okay.
that's not-
Okay.
Yeah, that's the end of the story. I just wanted people to know I have stretch
Yeah,
marks.
man,
so I'm
that
sorry.
shit is so fucking weird. Right.
Another famous person in the news recently, Shakira and PK.
I didn't hear. anything about that.
I don't know much about it. I know there's like some sort of diss track. or
Listen,
something going
we
on.
need to make a clip because of my father, and that's gonna like we need to because my dad. Listen, I showed my dad that we got 500,000 views, and he was like, "Listen, I love the energy, Dad. I love the energy. He doesn't understand English, but I love the energy, Dad." He was like, "Oh, you should." He was like, "You should make a clip about Shakira, and then tag her." And then she'll respond to it, and boom, you're famous.
But why did he pull out Shakira? Like out of all
Because
celebrities?
she just dropped a diss track.
Oh, okay.
So PK, I don't know if he cheated on her. He might have, but PK left Shakira for some new girl, and Shakira dropped a diss track where she was like she literally name drops him, and she's like, "You left your mother as my neighbor. Women don't cry. They make money." Like she shit on him. So hear me out. I am Team Shakira. Shout out Shakira, the greatest Hispanic artist of all time. Fuck PK. We don't fuck with PK on this side.
Shakira been wifey since the jump, bro.
You
2008.
literally-
That was my awakening. I was
Yeah.
like, hips don't lie. Oh my god, this shit is fire. Team Shakira all the way.
Yep, Team Shakira.
Wah,
Yo,
na, na,
Shakira
na,
was my first
eh, eh.
celebrity crush, actually.
True.
Yeah, she was my
True.
first celebrity
PK
crush.
fumbled, and he deserved every ounce of bad thing that will happen to him from now until forever. And there we go, boys. We're famous.
Please tag Shakira. Please, we
tag
need
Shakira.
this.
This is gonna look real bad if the like something bad happens, and it's like actually PK was in the right, and
Oh shit.
now we gotta redo the episode.
We were hungry. We did not know. What
Listen,
we were saying.
listen.
It was a moment of weakness.
Listen, we fake content here. Like, that's it. Like, we just fake content.
That's
Like,
what people believe. So
that's what people want to believe, and that's what it is.
Son, the one time we tried to fake content on the last episode, I fucking fumbled because Juan did an amazing take and then decided to shit the bed. And then people are so dramatic.
Listen, I'm sorry I'm so good at the internet. I'm sorry I've mastered this shit. I'm going to try better to
Bro,
be worse.
Juan wanted me to lie and say that pineapple on pizza isn't good as fuck, bro. Like,
Yo,
this is
pineapple
crazy.
pepperoni's the best.
Literally, bro. Literally
Damn,
best
we should go
combo.
get pizza.
Dude, I actually
We
want
should
pizza
go.
now.
Oh my god,
Dude, pizza would fucking hit right now.
Okay.
We could order some. I don't know how long
So we're
it'll
gonna
take
wrap
them.
this up.
We could wrap it up. I just need you. We just need to hear me out from you.
We need one. Something.
need
What's
one.
what's a take that you're just like? You
What's the
feel
take
like,
that you need to get out? We
Yeah.
might not even use it, but we need one.
I don't even know what to say.
You didn't hit us with a single "hear me out" this episode, and I didn't want to stop you mid sentences, but just give us.
Is there anything, any kind of topic you feel that would be somewhat controversial?
No, it doesn't have to be
not even
controversial.
controversial.
It doesn't have to be
Because it
controversial.
doesn't matter. Like,
Just a little.
like
hear
people
me
get
out.
mad at anything, bro.
Just a little
so
hear
like
me out.
literally anything.
Just a little "hear me out."
I don't know what to say, man.
Like, hear me out. Like
fucking
people with glasses are dumb. I don't know.
People with glasses are dumb.
We don't fuck with
Hey, bro,
glasses.
there's 2 glasses wearers right now.
Hear me out. People that don't wear glasses are dumb.
Oh my god, I didn't get to mention that the last time. Yo, the people are so far removed from reality. Motherfuckers in the comment section were talking about some. I thought people with glasses were smart. No, I cannot see. I wake up and everything looks like a blob, bro.
What was the first thing you looked at when you got your glasses?
What do you mean?
How
Some
old were you when you got?
Second grade.
So what was the first thing? Do you remember the first thing you looked
Absolutely not.
His
at?
second
The first
grade
thing I
teacher.
looked at was looking at trees and like realizing that they had like individual leaves and it wasn't like a blob of like.
Oh no, I don't think it was that bad. Like my shit progressed, but
Don't
like
be me.
I was so young that I remember having glasses my whole life. So
I also remember looking at the clouds and seeing that they had texture. You know, that wasn't just like they weren't all fluffy. Like some of them like just had.
no, they discovered that I like couldn't see pretty fast. Like it was like I remember. Well, I don't remember. I just
4th grade. So.
like I just know I got them super fast because like I was Z, so I was always placed in the back. And I was just like, bro, I literally can't see. It was like you should be able to see. Well, I can't. Like it's that simple.
All right.
No, hear me out. It's all right. Whatever.
I'm sorry, I just don't
No, I
have
mean,
like any
can
controversial.
you just say "hear me out," and then I'm gonna just cut it to fit it on to take you out.
Okay, hear me out. There it
Do
is.
more. Can we get a couple more?
do different variations. Like hear me
Hear
out.
me out.
All
Oh,
right.
man. Hear me out, man.
Hear me out. or how about or hear me out, guys.
So like a depressed anime.
Exactly. Like I can do.
Nah, just a regular "hear me out" is fine.
All right, hear me out.
Okay, with
Yeah,
that we're gonna.
right,
Yo, this is gonna suck, man. This is gonna suck.
Listen, guys, we're
Oh my
content curators, okay? But thank you everybody for tuning in today. Thank you for Miguel for coming here. Do you have anything you want to plug? Any Instagram?
Yeah, you can follow me definitely.miguel on Instagram.
Definitely Miguel. Make sure to follow. We've posted him on the page a couple of times before because he'd be posting nice little clips and shit.
True.
Kevin, say goodbye.
Oh, thank
don't
you.
plug your shit. We don't need no plug.
Yeah, I was like, bro, we do the same shit. All right, y'all. Thank you for joining us on this fine Wednesday morning. We'll see y'all next week. Episode 24 next week. Yeah, we'll see what happens, y'all. Take it easy. Stay warm.
Episode 25 might be a Q&A, I think, maybe, because I want to do
Oh yeah,
one.
we did say this.
Have
Yes.
you ever tried to do a live?
No,
we
You should
haven't.
do one, man, on Instagram Live.
maybe.
We'll see. If the questions are, because we said it. I think a few weeks ago. We were like, we're gonna drop a Q&A, and then like, but if nobody responds or not a single question is asked,
No,
we're gonna
let's-
act like it never existed.
No, we're gonna get some questions. We're gonna do a little Q&A.
I'm down.
It's not like we don't already talk about ourselves.
Yo, that was like one of those things on the TikTok. They were like, "Bro, let's start a podcast."
Oh my god, man.
Listen, but this is the end of our podcast.
Yeah.
So see you guys next week. Peace the fuck out.
Take it easy, y'all. Bye.